Until next time, I'm Charles Hay, Bin Savage. You can just splice that onto the Charles Hay.
Yeah, I'll get out the splicer.
What is happening, folks? Welcome to another episode of Nerds at Night. I am your host, Blake Money Blake Weather, the world's most okayest detective. How is everybody doing out in podcast land? Look at how I landed that intro. Me and you were just talking about the intro. Who am I talking to right now? Well, I'm not going to waste any time because I am with the one, the only friend of the show. He's awesome. If you haven't checked out his breakdowns, go find him at Filmer Dude 24. Look at that. I messed up a little bit. Oh, well. Filmer Dude 24, my friend and yours now, Ivan Montero. Ivan, how you doing, baby boy?
I'm good. I'm good. Like we were discussing a little bit earlier. Actually, no longer tired now that the Red Bull has kicked in. My nap and my Red Bull, they done the job. But
I love it. I love that attitude right there. And sometimes that's what you need. You need you a little caffeine, a little pick me up. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about today, we are talking all about. We're recording this, so nothing happened, but Ivan knows what we're talking about. So
yeah,
he's like, I've seen the videos, bro. I know what's going on. Ivan, how long have you been doing this, man? Because I found your channel. We were just talking about this before as I was breaking down, Only Murder in the Building for the season 4. And the only channels I had really followed, because I started doing this last year, were Matt and Jess, because they were talking about Death and Other Details. And then it was Double P Media, who I was going to be like, it's somebody I reference all the freaking time. Double P Media. And he had a little breakdown, but I saw his breakdowns when I was watching binge watching Only Murders in the Building. Yeah. And I got to season 3 and I'm like, what if anybody's breaking this down? Maybe I can try to solve this. And I saw his breakdowns and I'm just like, I'm never going to be like that dude. This dude is wildly good. He's really so good. And then fast forward to this season and I'm catching shit he doesn't. And I'm like, all right, Double P. Let's see what we could. It felt like a little small rivalry to see who could get the best clues. But we were talking about, regardless if you're watching it and that, I'm still watching it because I'm Double P, regardless. I mean, I've had people in the comments be like, I love you're the top channel above Double P, or be like, I love your channel the most. And it's so humbling. But even in my head, I'm like, but have you seen Double P? This dude is fire. Even he's not trying, he's fire. So all that to say, those were the two channels that I knew going into the season, that I was going to follow. So then I'm looking up other people's Only Murders content. And I come across, I think her name is Miss Everything is Fine. Her name's Jo. She's from Portugal and she discusses the show. And then I found your channel. I'll have to send you a link of her. She was super good up until the end. And she's like, well, who the hell saw it being Marsha? I didn't see it being Marsha. That's crazy. But
they didn't really set it up the best, right? I'll admit. But it was there, but not.
Right. We'll get into it because there's stuff that's there. I mean, he was on my list, but we'll get into it where he was on my list because I'm like, just look at the dude. He looks suspicious. And you're like, okay, he's on my list. And here's the reason why. And I'm like, I don't know how the hell you pulled it out of your ass, but
I don't know. I don't fully know. To me, I was just I think I get it. I get it. I see it. I get it. But my partner was just he was even dude, I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I don't. He's I support you, but I don't get it. What? And I'm watch, and then it ended up being that. But I don't know. It was just so. It was again watching it back. I was like, oh no.
Right? Yeah. There's. We'll get into we'll get into the season, but yeah. So how long have you been doing this? And this for me, I think this was your first season breaking down Only Murders.
Kind of. Okay. I did it last year. Okay. I intended to do it every week, but then I got busy and I did the first 3. So I broke down the first 3, and I had theorized. I knew it was Donna and Cliff because of Loretta's, I guess, spoilers for.
If you're watching this,
the whole thing, yeah.
Right, if you're watching, like, just go watch season 3 and then come back.
Yeah.
Like, well, we just spoiled it, so.
Yeah, but like I knew, right. I knew it was them because of Loretta's audition piece.
Oh.
And I was like, oh well, in Stranger Things season 1, the kids, their D&D game is exactly how season 1 plays out. So to me, I was like, and because in theater, that's kind of what you do.
Okay.
A big thing in theater is hinting at what's going to happen with one of the big things in the beginning. And so to me, I was like, I mean, if it's going to be a theater season, it might make sense. But for the longest time, I was like, it's way too obvious for Don and Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's them, but it's way too obvious.
But you're like, but it has to be somebody else.
But it has to be. So what I had theorized was it was either Donna or Cliff, Loretta, and a niece of some kind, or, and this was insane, but I thought it was going to be Girl Cop from Ben Glenroy's Olden Time. I thought it was going to be Girl Cop and Cliff.
Okay.
And the reason why is because at the very, like, I forget what episode, Cliff gets a text from Casey, a girl named Casey, is like, the murderer is did you see the guy's not the murderer, they let him out. And I want to be like, it's Casey, it's Girl Cop, it's Girl Cop.
Just wait till she shows up, it's Girl Cop.
Yeah, so I was slightly disappointed that it wasn't Girl Cop, but I was like, so it was Donna and Cliff.
Okay, so you started a little bit last season, and then
Yeah.
you really went all in this season, though. Now.
I really went on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also kind of broke the season last year as well, because Ben Glenroy's age doesn't match up with what he says. He says his age,
Right.
and then he says the age that he should have been going into Brazos. And I think that should have been season 1, just according to the age. And then according to what the year, or rather what the age-ish of what he said he was for Girl Cop, just none of it lines up for when Brazos should have been, for when Girl Cop should have been. So to me, I'm just like, someone's lying about their age here. But I don't think Omit B realized that they did that, but.
Well, there's a lot of stuff, and even in this season, I don't think that they realized that they put their foot in their mouth for. So, you know,
I know. Retrospectively, I was like, oh damn. Oh well.
I felt like I made like a bitching list. I just about like all the stuff that they screwed up, like as far as like matching up with Marshall, even the timeline, even the boots, like the boots don't match. Like I don't know.
Yeah, someone in the see the boot. Everyone kept mentioning the boots, and I was like, oh, you know what? That might be one of those like just weird detail misses, because the blood message tap in doesn't technically match what she would have been writing
right
at the end of season 3.
Right.
And then the one that they showed in the flashback at the finale didn't also match the one that she actually wrote, like in the blood, with the blood, because like the N was smeared
right
when they looked at it. And then, and
there was like a little puddle like next to the word itself, and I was like,
yeah,
I saw it and I'm like, there's no way you bleeding that much from that sounds crazy. And then they didn't even try to like add that point extra when they showed it in the finale, and I was just like, bruh, what are we doing, bruh? Like
the finale. Also, when I watched the Marshall's revelation, it almost felt, a lot of it's ADR, and a lot of it but it's like ADR in specific lines, like the Dudanoff script bit.
Okay,
that's like, because he's like, then I remembered the Dudanoff apartment. And then it turns into a voiceover that almost sounds as if it was going to be the beginning, like the opening.
Interesting. Okay.
And part of me is like, I wonder if this episode and last episode were different, but then whenever they filmed it, whatever, they're like, oh, this didn't actually work the way we wanted to. And I wonder if they just did the best they could.
It's what it feels like. It has to be it, right? Like,
because in retrospect, again, from a writer's perspective, on paper, this looks fantastic. But sometimes in application, that doesn't translate as well.
Right.
That's why I'm like, some Agatha Christie books are great as books, but they're never going to work on the stage or on screen.
Okay. I want an example of one right now.
One
I know you got examples.
Is and then there was None is my favorite. I think I don't think we've had a good adaptation because I don't want to reveal what happens for those who don't know.
Right.
But I think that one is just so hard to pull off that because again, you're imagining what you're reading, but if you're being fed everything, it's just hard. That's why I'm just like Marshall having like backstory for Marshall would be difficult because it would be like, oh, it's obviously him.
Right.
He's training to be a sniper. But to me, I'm just like, but why couldn't we have seen that flashback a little bit? That's why I'm just like, oh, it seems as if his explanation was supposed to be
at a different
place,
all
at a different place. All of his ADR stuff was supposed to be at a different place.
Also, to your point, I love the 1940s, and then there was None. I haven't seen this. There's one in the 60s or something that's supposed to be actually the better of them.
I haven't seen the 60s one, no.
But I saw. So I originally started off with, came out in the 80s, late 80s. 10 Little Indians. I guess that was one of the working titles of the book, and then they had to change it and whatever, for obvious reasons. But that one has Sylvester Stallone's brother in there.
For real?
Like you see him and you're like, you're a Stallone, aren't you? And like it has it on the credits, and you're like, you're the Stallone that don't get no love. Okay. Yeah. And then it has Donald Pleasance, right? Old Dr. Loomis himself from Halloween. And he's in it. And it's like those are like some of the more famous actors that are in there. That was the first time I had seen the adaptation of it. And I was like, this movie is trash. And then I watched the 1940s version maybe a few months ago, and I was like, this movie is fire. Why could they do this so good back then? And now like nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it is.
I don't know if you could do it now.
I was gonna say, to your point, I think it is tricky to make it happen. Like one of my favorite that I didn't know was one of my favorite renditions of it is the movie Identity. Have you ever seen that with John Cusack?
No.
It's got John Cusack,
but I know which one you're talking about.
Amanda Peet, Ray Liotta. It's got like a number of people in that movie, and it's essentially a modern retelling of And Then There Were None, right? Like the strangers, they're at this hotel. There's rain. It's a night, like nobody can leave, and then people start getting offed one by one, and you're like, well, what the hell is going on? So I had seen that movie as a kid, like probably I was like 14, 15. And I did not know until digging into And Then There Were None that was a rendition of it. And I'm like, it absolutely makes sense. Like there's so many movies like this. So I would suggest checking that one out. Will anything be the book? No, but maybe it'll be closer to what other people haven't done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On that note, but yeah, let's get into this old season, because you had some thoughts, I had some thoughts, and there were definitely some great alignment points, and then there was some stuff where I didn't exactly align with you until I watched your explanation of it's sort of the defense of why the script was the way it was, and the way that the character study of Marshall, which I think you did a beautiful character study of Marshall. And I don't think that the issue was the character of Marshall. I didn't have a problem with the character of Marshall. And the more we spoke, I was like, yeah, like it makes sense. Like the traumatic events, he's got this, he's hanging on to this. And then now he's sort of like crazy person, you know? your breakdown of it made that sort of quick flash of him being here and then being this killer made it absolutely made more sense. That wasn't my issue. My issue was the amount of closed, like open-ended questions and like things that they think we're supposed to be closed up that don't make no goddamn sense if we're supposed to believe this and that. And a lot of the people in the comments, they had very, I don't want to say they should have similar thoughts as me, because when I released my episode, I was like, people might not like what I have to say. Even though I had seen some other YouTubers be like, it was a little weird, but did you see the ending of it though? Like the wedding and the setup for the next season, like everybody complimented that as being some of the best parts of that particular episode. But I was a little nervous when I put my episode out, and then sure enough, I mean, I see people in the comments and they're like, yeah, like these clues didn't make sense. Like, how was I supposed to put it together? And I don't think you quite elaborated on that with some of your thoughts about how we were supposed to all put it together. Granted, I love that you pointed out in your video, like you're like, Marshall would be in shape. Look, he's got weights, he's got a bike. And I'm like,
I only noticed that
great. That is fucking great catch.
Yeah, I only noticed that afterward, because I do remember for episode 5, I scoured his apartment and I'm like, I found nothing. and now in retrospect, I look back, I'm just like, wait, and they were moved. What the heck?
Right. One of the things somebody caught, it was Miss Everything is okay, or Miss Everything is fine. I'll put her channel somewhere in the comments. I've posted her before. She's incredibly awesome. But in that episode, she looked at the poster in Marshall's room, and it's a poster for the movie called Blow Up. And then the next episode is literally called Blow Up, which is referencing that movie. And I was like, that is such a cool catch there.
Yeah, I did not catch that. Wow.
Right. So
the
thing is like, oh, sorry to cut you off, but I just will add to probably what you're about to say. Everything is purposefully put in positions for where we need to see it on the camera. Go your turn. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, his apartment is weird.
Elaborate.
Why is it a studio? Like, okay. I understand that, like, it's hard as a writer to you're a struggling writer.
Right.
It makes sense to have a bike, in LA. It makes sense to have a bike. It makes sense to have a studio. But this looks like a hotel room. So to me, I'm just like, did the strikes affect you guys? And you guys had to, therefore, once the strikes were done, had to go with whatever was the cheapest and quickest.
Okay.
And then, therefore, was Marshall not the intended killer?
Ooh. What direction, if not him, do you think that you think they would have gone with Rudy?
I think they would have gone with the Westies.
Yeah. Okay.
Or at least one of them.
Right.
At least one of them. Because that whole bit doesn't seem
fully wrapped up, does it?
Fully wrapped up either. What are the Sauce's last name? Why don't they have last names? That's what I want to know.
It's just Sauce. It's just they got lost in the sauce, like I said.
It's just Mama Sauce, Daddy Sauce, and Anna Sauce. So. That's just their names from now on.
But yeah, again, there's little weirdness like that, man.
But again, at the same time, if Marshall was supposed to be the intended original killer, therefore, was Double P correct in that there was supposed to be a twin?
Dude, let's talk about this.
Because again, with the whole show being doubles, and I also get the I wonder if they're like, oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to be the whole like what is it? Actors can be their own doubles.
Okay.
So to me, I'm just like, oh, that's a great twist, but at the same time, I'm still like, I wanted there to be two.
Right.
And specifically Rudy, but
it would have. I would have liked two of Marshall, because it would have made sense that we see two of we see two of Ben Glenroy, right? We see old Glenn Stubbins in this, and you're like, that's weird that he's the exact same actor. I wonder if that's for a purpose, you know? And then the purpose would have been like, yeah, Rex is his own individual and Marshall is his own individual. And then we can connect some sort of connection points as to Marshall wanted to be like his brother and he was a writer, but he, you know, he stole the thing from Saz, but Rex killed her, like something like that. There could have been some sort of different position that they could have taken. And I think I would have been happier with that, because then maybe they could have, in my head, they could have potentially made more sense about things. And it's
because like the whole Rex Bailey thing, the whole his heel.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about his heel. I remembered about Rex Bailey, but I couldn't make sense of it. And I do remember writing in the script, I was gonna mention something about like, oh, maybe it's Rex Bailey, but I don't, if I can't make a good story out of it, I'm not gonna throw it out there.
I'm not gonna tell people about it. Yeah.
Right, because to me, I'm just like, why? So when they mentioned Rex Bailey at the end, I was like, Mike, Rex. But I don't know. Part of me is just like, okay, well, they mentioned the heel thing.
Mm-hmm.
So someone in my comment said, oh, Marshall probably stole Ron's shoes to counterbalance the heel. But I'm just like, but why steal both shoes then?
Right. I mean, somebody did write it in my comments too. They were like, maybe he needed them because they're easier to move around with or something. I'm like,
that's
sure,
why I'm like,
sure, but why? But what?
That's why I'm just like, I know I should be upset. I guess I don't know why I'm not as upset, but I'm like I think about this specific thing and I'm like, Ivan, you have to be like blazingly just seeking revenge for this, but I'm not. I'm just like, I'm okay, I'm chill. But like, Marshall should have attempted to frame the dude, the brothers, sisters, because that would have made sense for the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made sense for the
tinsel thing.
The tinsel.
Yeah.
Just because he could just say, "Oh, actor stuff" or something. I don't know.
Right. Movie set stuff. Yeah, they were there. They were there filming a movie. Duh. And
Matt and Jess, I'm glad they brought this up because I completely forgot to bring this up as well. Because I thought Marshall was going to be, because when Dudinoff was revealed to be a film professor, I said that Marshall likely knows Dudinoff,
right?
Because film stuff.
Because film stuff, yeah,
film stuff. And Marshall in his apartment he has stuff that I'm like, you either learned that on your own out of sheer dedication, or you learned that in college. That's not normal. That's not normal storytelling stuff that he's got there. That's like advanced.
That's so funny,
to me, I'm just like,
dude.
So to me, I'm just like, he definitely went to college. So I want to read the scripts.
Okay.
I want to read the scripts of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read the original script and I want to read the shooting scripts. I want to see
where they fucked
what
up.
happened.
Yeah.
Like what happened? Like where did the story change? Who started playing telephone and changed things? Because even that scene where Marshall is killing Saz seems almost
weird.
Redone.
Yeah, it seems weird, dude.
Like it's like Jinha's performance is fantastic, but
yeah,
but the tone is still bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a puzzle piece that fits but doesn't fit.
Right, you're like, that edge is still a little. I don't know if it goes there, man. Yeah. I feel that because that was one of the things that somebody pointed out, and they were like, and the counter argument to it is crime of passion. Yes, like you had brought up, but like, what was he going to do if he shot Saz in the street? Like, how was he going to ask her about the script? Like, what was his? What if she told Charles and he was just going to still shoot her? Like, it doesn't. There's some stuff that 1 and 2 don't be 3 in, if you know what I mean. Like, it don't be adding up. Yeah. And
that's why I'm just like, I think there was more to this than meets the eye. Like, oh man, like I don't know. It's like that simple. Like, you just because again, like I said, not having the Westies connected to me feels almost like my time was wasted.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that was such a strange thing. Like the whole Dudinoff thing. It's like, yeah, all right, there's another body there. anyways, what
Yeah.
what the hell does that got to do with me? You know, like what does that have to do with anything? However, if they want to connect it in season 5 as a reference point, then okay, like let's have a conversation about how we basically almost see Dudenoff as left-handed. Let's have that conversation. You know what I mean? That's because that's interesting.
That would be interesting.
Mhm.
Here's the thing, though. I love the season because of my personal connections with it.
Mhm.
But I understand on like a wide general audience, it did not do as enough.
Mhm.
I wonder if that's because they're trying to like fill in plot holes, and then they're trying to also they're like, okay, we have mystery, but how can we also fix these things just for fan service? And to me, I'm just like don't do the Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker situation. Just
Yeah.
stick to your guns.
Don't Ryan Johnson up my season, please. Do not do that. Even though the man can make him a good murder mystery. Like I have a fun time with Knives Out and with Glass Onion. I have a
we
fun
had a
time
Knives Out light, man. We technically did.
It felt like it at some point. I will say overall the season I enjoyed. Like you go back and anybody out there watching my episodes, like I'm having a blast. And it's not just because I'm reading the comments and having so much fun with the fans, but it's because like the season is fun. It's funny. The mystery is keeping me intrigued. It was just the first half of that last episode that just it's like getting a good meal, and then they're like, "You really want this dessert, though?" And you're like, "I do, I really do." And it's like a lava cake, but the lava cake is cold, but at least the ice cream tastes good. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of how I feel.
That basically describes like me in a nutshell. I'm just like, just it's sweet. Give me. So
that's the way I felt. That's the way I felt. But overall, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike and I, we were gonna I think react to it initially, but we're both just so tired, and it was just like busy week, so we're just gonna watch it.
Yeah, you just
and
gotta
like
enjoy it.
Talk about it after. But retrospectively, I wonder if it was just gonna be a little bit different, but
it feels like that was the setup at plenty of times because of just how many open loops that they had. I mean, and even I think one of the things was Melissa McCarthy was set to appear in this episode, and she didn't appear. So like,
where
are all these deleted scenes?
I saw that you mentioned it, and I saw that you mentioned that, and I was just like, thank you.
Right? Yeah.
Someone else mentioned the fact that she's supposed to be more in this season because it's Melissa McCarthy,
right?
We would sign on for one, but like her agent would totally be like, no, we're getting money.
Right. We're gonna do at least two and a half.
We're gonna do 2.
Right.
Hilariously though, if you notice, I should have pointed this out because I think I have a screenshot of it, but there is a person from the back of the head that looks like Doreen at the wedding.
Oh shit. Okay.
So part of me is like, did they film something with her at the wedding? Like maybe like a joke with Oliver.
Oh, that would be funny.
It might have thrown off the pacing or the sweetness going on.
The tone of it, yeah.
I think it would have been funny, but
even after the wedding would have been funny. Like, give me a little bit where she's like, "You sure you want to stay married, sweetness?" You know, something like where she's flirty or something. Or something where she's dancing with Charles or something. Yeah, something sweet. Like you could still have sweetness and still have her there.
Did you guess? I thought she was going to be the next victim.
I didn't say Doreen. My two had always been Jan or Loretta, and so I enjoyed the episode where how meta it was, where they're like, he's like, "You're saying Loretta's gonna be next."
I remember you. A couple of people were saying Loretta, and then Mike hasn't been watching any videos on YouTube, and so I think in the 8th episode, he's like, "So I know you're saying it might be Howard, but like, hear me out, man." And he starts laying out like all of these like trends that they start doing in seasons past, and I'm like, stop it. Stop it. Do not touch Meryl Streep.
He's like, but just hear me out though. But just hear me out. I thought they were going to give her the axe because I'm like, it's Meryl Streep. Like, how many more episodes she wants to do? Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, like she's expensive. Like,
yeah, facts.
He's like, they can't afford her for another season. Like they gotta get her. They gotta get rid of her. I'm just like, they can't do that to Oliver, man. Like at that point, if I'm Oliver, I'd be like, no, I would just completely change my name.
Right.
Like, completely change my identity. Like burn everything I own. Not even sell it, just burn it.
Burn it all to the ground. But to write her off, at least where you can just like have like phone calls and stuff like. All right, that works.
That's good.
That's
like, that works.
Easy peasy, and everybody's happy. Nobody want to see. Well, everybody was happy until the last minute, and then everybody's favorite. Oh, Lester.
Yeah, I heard one person say that's like, oh, I heard people say it was Lester. I was like, I was in denial. I was like, it can't be. But then I heard that Lester could be the big bad guy, and I was like, oh, that makes more sense. So when they
heard this theory, get into it. Talk about this.
So when the trio found Lester, when Selena Gomez was just like, oh my gosh, I swear, I was just like, Howard? No, it's Lester.
Oh my goodness! And you did this really cool. You did this really cool video. I saw it today. I don't know if you released it. You released it the last 24 hours, right?
I think it was like late last night.
Okay, and it was the theory on what season 5 is to expect. But you did this really cool thing where you sort of very much narrowed down the time of death, and I was like, go ahead, I'm listening. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it was very nicely done because I wanted to be like, I don't know how you can identify this, but I'm open. I'm all ears right now. Like, talk to me, my homie. Let's see what you got to say. And it was a very good point. Like, he was missing after the wedding, not found until the next morning, and the whole blood, like the amount of blood. And I was just like, okay, you're cooking with fire here, Ivan. We're going to have a good combo tonight. This is going to be, and I said it just like that to myself too, with the, you're real raspy like.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, because to me, the whole thing about my theory was that I didn't want to mention because I didn't want to accidentally destroy myself, was how then is the blood like spitting through the thingamabob? And I was like, oh, the little drain is right next to him.
That corner's drain is right there, and it's still kind of watery too, which means it's been in there for a little bit. Yeah. And I don't know, to me, I'm just like, okay, he's definitely been shot, or he could be stabbed. He could be another thing could be, what if he just had a heart attack? And like just fell in. Damn. So I mean, right, you don't see a gunshot. There's not like, oh, he's been stabbed. So
because there is blood behind him, and there is a significant amount of blood on his jacket. And that's blood. It's not like water blood. It's like thick.
Okay.
So to me, I'm just like, did he hit his head, and did the murderers put him in the fountain right there to make it look like, oh, he fell in or something? Right. I still think it was a message. I still think Lester's death is a message to the trio.
I mean, if we're getting into all sort of Caputo crime families, it feels very much like something you'd see in The Godfather. Like, somebody made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he refused.
I'm gonna have to go like watch like The Sopranos, like Godfather, like just to like refresh the vibe of the season. I'm gonna be talking like a Jersey accent like weekly for 10 weeks next year.
Hey, forget about it. No, get the get the gabagool. Get the gabagool. Yeah.
The only reason why I said that too was because I said he came out and I was like, oh, dude, that guy's cold. And then Mike's like, they iced him, and I was like, hold up.
Wait, what did you just say?
He's like, you might be onto something here.
Yeah, it does seem that way though. It seems very messagey. And he, I mean, I've heard, right, like the theories, Lester could be the the killer all along. It could be in on it. And then it could be somebody killed the killer. And then we find these big two things that you're like, oh shit, somebody killed the killer. So are we mad at the killer? And do we still like Lester by the end of this? I think would be a cool little twist.
Wow.
Because that would be some emotional heart pulling right there, right? Like, how am I supposed? And that's what good writing. You're a writer. That's what good writing should do, right? It should make you. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to humanize the villain, and you like him, or you're like, I know I'm not supposed to like him, but like.
Have you seen Death Note?
Death Note. Oh no, I haven't seen that. But it's funny you said that. A few weeks ago, I just listened to CZ's World, and he did a whole Death Note breakdown. It's like 4 hours long, and as I was driving and working out, I played it until I played all 4 hours, and I was like, Death Note is so fascinating. This light character, like, he's so cool. Like, what is going on? Cool.
Yeah, I'm just watching it now. With Mike, he's just like, have you seen Death Note? I was like, no, because I'm a little bit of a wuss. I might get scared. He's like, it's not scary. I'm just like, okay, cool. And so we start watching it. I'm like, this is like a How Catch 'Em. It's a How Catch 'Em because like and it's phenomenal. The way that this like not just this individual, but all others who are trying to catch. I'm trying to like not reveal anything, but those who are it's a game of cat and mouse. Right. Like, and it's multiple games of cat and mouse.
Right.
Cat and mice rather. And it's just I like towards the end, I'm like, I'm a little lost, but I'm just captivated. Because it's just advanced thinking, and I'm just like, I'm lost at this point, but I'm here. Right.
It's constantly, it feels like 4D. Like the way that CZ was explaining it, like it's 4D chess. This kid's light. He's got the Death Note. He's playing this 4D chess game with the police, and like how he kills people, and it's just this big game of catch me if you can. That's it.
And it's a lot of okay, well, because of this, then that means this, and then that means this, and because of that also means this. And it happens so quickly, but they set it up so that when it happens quickly, you're just like, oh dear God. Yeah. That was great. So
that's great. Yeah. But yeah, I haven't seen it, but I heard a whole 4-hour breakdown of every comic and episode, and it went like full timeline, and I'm like, this is the most. I'm not an anime person, but
yeah, same.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
So we're saying that could be like Lester, is what you're saying, right? Like he's been playing this big game of like, catch me if you can, and you haven't caught me until someone caught me.
See, someone, it was Matt and Jess. Their video, they said that what if Lester is the 6th Avenue slasher, of whom I forgot was a thing until I saw their video, and I was like, oh.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, if they're going to want to connect all these points, right, we need somebody who wrote notes. We need somebody who's been spying on the trio. We need to know like all these past things as to why, if it wasn't the Westies, why whoever is upset with the crew for starting this podcast. And it has to be something. What's it just going to be like? Stop doing a podcast because I love the building. No, it's going to be like, stop doing a podcast because you might find some shit out that has nothing to do with the podcast that you're doing right now about the death that you're doing.
Yeah.
And it would make sense. Like if it's like, if it is Lester, like will obviously at this point, will any of us be surprised? No, I don't think so. It will be very like interesting of how they do the revelation of it all though. Also too, I mean, I think even if he's not the slasher, whatever connection he has with the building, right in his last line, like, oh, I got married by the fountain, and this whole thing, and it's like, well, who did you marry? Because like, are they related to somebody? Like they didn't want to get married.
He said the fountain was his only witness.
Yeah.
Is there a camera in there that we don't know about?
Oh shit.
Because Uma's upset that there's cameras inside the building. And then he seemingly got killed outside the building. I thought that was interesting. So I'm just like, Uma, I now have my eyes on you. But
I would say this. I mean, I think depending on the entrance, right? Like this is what I imagine. Like maybe those cameras will come into play somehow, and maybe they won't. Like maybe they'll be like, we've already filmed the movie. Like even though continuity wise, them cameras should still be there. So hopefully they don't forget about it, because the camera can come into play as like, oh, look at, we see somebody dragging a body or using the little, what they call the little, what's that little thing that carries all the bags? The bag, the little bag trolley thing.
The bag trolley, yeah.
Yeah. Like they're like, whoa, that looks like a body in there. Was that Lester on there? You know what I mean? Like all these possibilities of the camera catching either Lester coming down alive or coming down, and we're like, is that him dead in a body bag or something like that? Like that would be interesting. I didn't think I was going to theorize this deep about 5, but now that I am, I like it. I like what's going on.
His line about the witness, and because Double P said something, I think it was either Double P or Movie Files, where they said something about the fountain. I think it was Movie Files actually, where they said something about the fountain being the only witness. And as soon as he said that, that's what popped into my head. I was like, oh, is he? Oh, camera maybe? And then they never mentioned anything about a camera, and I'm like, oh, I don't think anyone's thought about it. But to me, I'm just like, would that? I don't know if that would line up, because if he got, I don't know, like if video recording equipment was top notch at the time he got married.
Right. Yeah.
But still, I don't know.
Right. Or I mean, I just took it as like, that's quite a romantic line there, Lester. Just the stars and the fountain as my witness. And I'm like, that's
how I initially took it, until I heard someone else talking about it. And I was like, maybe there is something suspicious there.
It feels like with this show, like anything.
Who's his wife?
Right. Who's his wife? That's what I'm saying.
Who's
like,
his wife?
Is she connected to the Nikki Cacciamilio guy? Is that how is this thing involved? Also, what's the deal with Nikki Cacciamilio? Like where's he hiding? Is he in the Arconia somewhere? Like that would be interesting.
And what's any of that got to do with the Arconia?
Right.
Because Sophia was like, yeah, it's got everything to do with the Arconia, which I would have been like, oh, okay, then sure. Money is money.
Yeah, let me check the case.
But they were both like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, anyways, ma'am.
It's like, damn, harsh.
Man, tell me you don't like me without telling me you don't like me, right? Like, for real. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that connects. And I'm so excited for it. Honestly, and I want to ask you this: is like, as we sort of come down the hill on the omit B only murders talk, is you running a YouTube page, and I can't really have this conversation with everybody, but you running a YouTube page, how surreal is it for you as a host of a YouTube channel to like interact with all these people who are like, watch your channel, dude? Like, because I've tried to word it plenty of times on my show, and I still don't even think I get it right. Like how cool of an experience it is. Just being like, first of all, you watch me. Second of all, you have thoughts. Because isn't that like every YouTuber's fear? Like you're like, oh, what if I put it out? What if nobody watches? You know what I mean? Yeah.
To me, it is surreal, especially because like the first video that I did, I don't remember if that one was the one that did like the most right off the bat or didn't, but it started getting comments, and I'm like, oh, I guess this is how it feels. But the way I would describe it is, slightly rewarding.
Slightly rewarding.
And the way I mean by that is humbling, because you can either go get a really big head, or you could, I don't know, it just feels nice. I mean, admittedly, it feels nice, but it feels warm.
Warm is a great word, man. It's so humbling too, because I never want to be and I think I talked about this in the last episode, like I've been there before. I've been fans of shows where it's like you write a comment or, something with, if they read comments, and it's so cool to get yours, if there's a reply or if they heart it or if they like it or especially shit, if they read your comment. Also, we got to do that. We've been wasting time talking all about Omit B. But yeah, it's so cool. I guess that's a good like natural segue. Jeez, I didn't even think about that. I'm so smart. First of all,
yes, you are. You, like you mentioned, you, Double P, Brain Pilot, Matt, Jess. All you guys helped formulate my ideas.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Like, it's so cool interacting with the fans because they keep you humble and they have great ideas, and it's so dope. And then the other thing too is we talked about it before. Like, we have channels and we still watch all the and so I imagine, like, even if people on their channels don't be like, oh, go check out so and so, or I learned this so and so, everybody's watching everybody's stuff. Like, that's everybody's checking everybody's homework, quite honestly.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all it is. But I think I'm so open, and I don't come from a TV like reviewer space where I'm like, no, we gotta like give dabs where dabs are due, man. Like, give shouts where shouts are due. If you watch somebody, if you learn something, don't act like you're the only rodeo in town at this point, because like there's some good people. I think one of the things too, like we were just talking about, Matt and Jess, like as much as I say, I'm going to say this, as much as I talk shit about them, and I don't mean to talk shit, I just mean that I have said repeatedly, like, it's like liking YouTube channels is like liking chicken. And sometimes you like your chicken with salt and pepper, and then sometimes you like a little bit of flavor. That's it. You just like a little bit of flavor. And not every kind of chicken is for every person. I still tune into them because they're usually the first ones that upload their stuff. So I don't hate them. Yeah, I don't have no hate against them. I don't know how they do it either. I'm like, bro, how did you just get this up so fast? It's ridiculous. But the thing that like I have to always like give them dabs for is like talking one shot for 33 minutes or 30 minutes at a time. You and I both know, like, we have edits in our shows. Like, I couldn't talk, bro. I mean, we're obviously talking right now for already 47 minutes, but that's to each other. But like, to do a one shot like that, it's so impressive. It's so impressive.
I've gotten to the point where I can now write a script. I know how long it's going to be because of how much I'm going to mess up, and then roughly know how much is going to cut. And it's usually around half. I usually cut out around half. I either repeat myself way too much, or I'll say the line the first time, somehow convince, like, immediately be like, oh, that was awful, and like say it 17 more times, and then when I'm editing it, I'm like, I said it fine the first time,
right? I want to. Speaking of that, I want to go over. I think I was going to do this, and then we'll read some fan comments. But I didn't want to. What's that?
Yes, we'll do that as I'm pulling up my comments.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I want to show something. I want to show people. So, like, how big does this look right here? Oh, yeah. This looks great. Okay. This is my script. Like, and it is. This was my script from episode 2, and you can see like how much really, like, I write my notes. Like, I sort of have like, I have my intro, even though I pretty much like memorized it, right? And I have like, the little spiel, like, this works, you tuned in before, this works, yeah. And also too, throughout the season for the first few episodes, I was really trying to like hone that and get that right and natural sounding without it sound. I'm always trying to like, and I think you can attest to this too, always trying to like, if you write something down and it doesn't have nothing to do, like, you don't do recaps. I do recaps, but like if it's not part of a recap and I wrote something down as like a note or something, like I'm like, I need to say this point or I need to say this line. You always want to try and say it without sounding like you are reading from a cue card, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I have everything. I have everything written down. And then the longest part is this damn recap. And that takes me, I mean, the recap and the questions probably takes me like an hour in and of itself to write, because like I'm trying to recap like a minute and a half's worth of like whatever happened on the show in like 1 or 2 lines. You know what I mean? Because like,
Yeah.
You want to try and genuinely like just keep, and then be like, all right, I don't want to repeat words of what I just said like 1 line ago or 2 lines ago. So it's such a, do you write yours on paper, or do you use like
I use Google Docs as well. I don't know if I can. So like I have my chapter titles, and that this helps me figure out like what to talk about, so I don't go off the rails.
Okay, nice.
And then that also helps me create my time codes, because I already have the chapter titles. And as you can see, it's very it's I mean, like, I don't know if y'all
funny.
like hear my whole like, oh, let's unpack that. Like that's
you know what's
write it is how I want to say it.
Crazy. Yeah, with the excited, you know what's crazy? You have 6 pages of notes.
6 pages, yeah.
And I have 3 pages, and your episodes are way shorter than most of mine. And mine are so, because I just freestyle talk. Like I'm like, I have notes, and then I'm like, but also let me just fucking go off on a tangent sometimes.
Dude, if I go off tangents, if I go on tangents, odds are I will not say what I wrote. And because I went on a long tangent and I don't want to have to edit, I'll be like, oh well, moving on. I guess this is the new thought that we're working with. Or if I can't, because there's sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't move on. I totally messed it up. I'll like go back. I'll like make like a verbal note for editing me, and I'll be like,
I'll
just go back to the go back to the beginning, move on, and be like, oh yeah, look at that. That 7 minutes turned into 1.
I went on a 10-minute ramble about Saz and like Jan and and Loretta. Like it was like, I forget which episode it was. And then I got to the end of what I was saying, and I was like, oh, I just answered my own question. And then I'm like, look at the camera, and I'm like, future Blake, edit the last like 10 minutes of this, because it's not gonna make any sense. Yeah. So I feel that pain. I feel the pain of that as a content creator. Yeah. What do you use? What do you use to edit?
Adobe Premiere.
I use Premiere. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I've used a number of different programs throughout the years, and I settled on that one I think I finally got it like last September, October, and then I finally switched over, and I was just like, what was I doing before? Like, why do I hate myself up until now? Like, Premiere is so pro, as the kids would say.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, you got some comments pulled up, man. I'm going to pull some comments. If you got some pulled up, I'm going to go to the old YouTubes, and I'm going to pull some of the ones that came up on Nerds at Night, and we'll go off and we'll answer people's questions. So go ahead and read out what you got, man.
Absolutely. This one actually, hold on. Let me make sure my volume is off. But this one is actually from here. It's a long one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's come from Skeptic Mantis. They posted this on my finale breakdown.
Okay.
It's very long, so I encourage people to go read it. But this person, I'll read a little bit, and then so we could get the gist of it. But they said that Rex Marshall being angry that Saz's work was somehow so great on the first try really irked me, because it's clear Saz has far more life experience and therefore is more equipped to write from the heart and experience. And they basically go on to say that it's very clear that she could, to them, that Saz could have written the script first try, because she's been around so many scripts, she's read so many scripts. So to them, they were saying that like it felt like Saz was almost being attacked by Marshall in that regard. But then they called me out a little bit on like further down, which I liked, where they said, "Oh, it seems unfair to say that Marshall didn't have it," because in my video I said, "Oh yeah, Marshall just didn't have it." And I do agree on that. I do agree on that. Like it is a little unfair for me to say that he didn't have it. I think what I was trying to say was what they said, that he just didn't have the correct story, which is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Like he could have, because the whole point, the whole father thing, he just wanted to prove his dad wrong. He didn't actually have a story to tell.
Right.
And which is what I think this person was trying to say. But I love the way they articulated themselves. It's a very long comment, but they like explain Marshall and Rex and then Saz as well, and it's like this whole like character study and like a little, and just like it's like
Jesus Christ, that is long.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to summarize it. It is very long, very long. But I love it.
But it's so cool that people. I always love it, and I always read them, much like I know you do, because it's so cool that someone took that much time, is that invested on your particular programming, to want to have these words, share these words with you. They don't usually. And what sort of my experience is people will type in the thing and then like not even expect anything back, and then when you reply or anything, they're like, "Holy shit, this is the coolest thing it's happened all day. This is dope."
Yeah, and to me, it's not even that. I think it's, to me, the fact that someone got so invested into the show, but they got invested with their own personal. Because yeah, it seems like similar. I bet this person's a writer as well.
Okay,
but they found their own personal thing that they related to the show. Because to me, I was like, same. Like what got me angry with Marshall was him saying, "Oh, she bought our script." I've been in such similar situations like Saz before. So to me, that's why I related to like so much. That's why I was so angry. I was like, "Marshall, you bitch."
I was like, "Bitch, our script? What? What?"
Yeah, I was yelling. I was invested, but that's why, like, I have a personal connection to it, whereas other people don't. And I found that fascinating.
Right. I think that was one of the things that when me and you were talking about the show, right? Like, especially at the end, like, because of more of it was definitely a script writing bias, but it was also a script writing insight for you to be able to even call what you called very early on. Like, that is not an expertise of like everybody who's not in that industry or never been in there. They're never going to see that perspective, and instead try to solve it like going in blind, because they're not able to pick up on whether it's social cues or nonverbal clues or something of how the style of the writer that's sort of indicative and pointing to like, that's not normal. But for people that don't know writers, you're like, yeah, it seems pretty normal.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I pointed out in his episode when it was episode 5 was like, he talks about doing an hour-long bit, or it talks about doing an hour-long set, and I'm like, I have friends in Austin that are are full-time comedians, and in no shape, way, or form are they going on every night or any night besides recording a comedy special. Are they doing an hour-long set? Like, that just does not happen.
It can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was just like, Marshall's the killer, because he'd be lying. Like, that's such a lie.
And like looking back in episode 5 and even the other episodes, this boy is lying. And again, I don't know if that's like pivot to Marshall being the killer, and so they just call it him lying. But this boy is just like pathologically like lying. But like they're like connected, but I'm like, why is no one following up on this? It's so subtle.
The crew didn't follow up on a lot of bits this season. Like, let's be honest, you know what I mean?
And again, it's the whole like, oh, they're being murdered, they're being chased, and all this and that. But I'm like, yeah, but why are they back in the apartments?
Don't they know there's cameras? What are they doing?
Yeah, I'm like, sure, they could have destroyed the cameras, but still, why are they back in the apartment?
Right,
they would move.
I would burn the whole thing down, like you said, or it would burn the whole The whole Arconia is going down. What other comments did people give you?
Let's see here. I'm trying to find the one about Howard.
They're not all.
Yeah, someone's mentioned. This is the first time that someone mentioned. It was in the episode. Which one? It was my episode. It was the Dudanoff case closed one, but someone mentioned mashing button 28 mentioned that Lester could be the big bad, and that he could even be the strangler.
Okay.
Because I think what they were saying is that him removing the window or something might be like trying to throw them off or something. But that was the first time that I had heard that Lester could be the strangler.
Really? Okay.
And I was like, oh, interesting. And then Matt and Jess brought it up in the last video, and I was like, interesting. So people are thinking about this.
Yeah, I'd heard them a couple of
in 28.
I'd heard them a couple times on Matt and Jess, and then I went to Reddit for maybe episode 5, 6, 7, 8. I went to Reddit just to sort of scurry around in there. I feel like such a creeper when I read and I don't write anything on there. Like I feel like just like a Reddit creeper. Yeah. But I'd be Reddit creeping. But a lot of people have like the Lester, and I think it's fascinating. I think that there's a lot to it. I honestly do. So if it comes out that then he was into some shit, like I am not going to be surprised. Is what I'm saying. What else these people talking to you about, man? What else these people telling you, Ivan?
It's mostly just comments about the videos themselves. Whenever I do on a thing, like someone, let me see here. Someone was saying that they could so that Bakula could have been the original target.
Oh,
and not Charles. And I gave that like heavy thought. Because I also thought, I was like, couldn't Bakula have been the original? I'm like, no, couldn't have been. And someone posted that. I was like, hold on.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
But I'm really glad that it wasn't, because I feel like that would have been just too much at that point.
Yeah, I mean, when he showed up in episode 1, I was like, everybody knows it's Scott Bakula right now. Everybody knows it's Scott Bakula, and then he never showed up again. I'm like,
yeah. When he showed up, I was like, Scott, good to see you, man.
Oh, funny. All right, what else are people telling you, Ivan?
Let me see here. Someone also suspected a lot of, like, my first episode. A lot of people said it was Scott Bakula. They're like, it's either probably Scott or Jan. It's Scott and Jan and Scott, Jan and Joy, Scott or Joy, trying to kill Charles. And I'm like, it's all really good.
I did definitely suspect, because I will say this: I suspected Joy at a point in time, very early on, because I'm like, well, if the connection points were either named, like in season 1 to season 2, season 2 to season 3, season 3 to season 4, early, like late in those episodes, we're somehow seeing or are referencing the killer that's going to happen in the next season, who was around when Saz died. And I'm like, well, Joy wasn't around, but she was referenced, and Loretta was around. Why did she leave town the night after Saz died? I had strongly suspected. I'm like, what was Dickie doing? When we gonna see Dickie? Dickie could be a killer? Yeah, I don't know.
When Loretta came out the first scene, I too was just like, oh man, Loretta.
Did you think she was a killer?
Wait. I did, just because the way she came on screen, I was like, hold up, what are you hiding, girl?
Yeah.
And it was Jack Jonk, and it was clearly Jack Jonk, but I was just like, girl, why'd you do it? And then Marshall stepped on screen. I was just like, oh, hold up, I think Loretta's upset.
Right. I got a new suspect now. All right, let me read a comment real quick. This was on the Nerds at Night post that I posted on the community post. This is from Yana477. The wedding saved the last episode. Even though I enjoyed the season, less focus should have been on the Westies and more hints pointing toward Marshall. Also, most of the information was told to the trio. They didn't deduce the killer from the clues. What do you think about that? Oh, he had to drink a Red Bull. He has some thoughts.
No, I actually fully agree. Dang, I didn't think about that. They didn't deduce from the clues, kind of just all put together. And that's why I said the Westies not being involved is just serves as a mad distraction, just mad waste of time, because I can't find it. I can't find who said it, but someone said it. They could have deleted it, but like someone said on one of my videos that or was it a comment, or did I watch it in someone else's video? But I read somewhere.
Well, I'm gonna be like I said it.
It could be the Westies might play a bigger hand in like season 5. That everything that they had that was set up might come back in for season 5, because who was talking crap about Charles on the
ham radio?
Ham radio. I said it was Alfonso. I thought it was Alfonso because you know how he was just like, oh, I part of me is like, I gotta take him out,
right?
he's staring down my wife.
Right? Yeah, she said he's my hall pass, and he's like, even though you're not supposed to have one of those, right? Yeah. Like,
they have something creepy, man. They have Don and Cliff, and then they have the sauces.
I didn't suspect Alfonso because, you know, even you knowing as a writer, right? Like, it's never the person who's like, you know, I was going to kill somebody, and you're like, okay, well, you're not the killer anymore, so you can stop talking, because
they did a good job making me like, because I'm like, it's not them. Wait. No, I think it is them. They did such a good job making me go back and forth, and maybe that's why I'm just like a little mad, because I'm just like, oh, dang it, you got me.
Yeah, they did some nice switcheroos. I will say they did some nice switcheroos in this. All right, check this out. You might like this one. This one's from JK594. Mabel should be the mastermind. It all started when she reappeared. What you think about that, Ivan?
So you know how like in last season Mabel was like, there was no foam. We got to check for foam in his mouth because it could mean poison.
Yeah.
I kept saying, like, that season made me. Well, we all knew it wasn't going to be them, but part of me was like, well, they're setting it up to make it seem like it could have been Oliver, it could have been Charles, or it could have been Mabel. Right. Mabel, because she wants to do a podcast again, and she's talking about all of these different type of murder stuff, but it was just a hint for poison. Right.
Facts.
But to me, I'm just like, Mabel. So that
it's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought.
I think right now I'm just like, I think I would give it a standing ovation, but I think in the moment I think I would cry. and then be like, I think I'm good. I think it's good.
That's so funny, dude. All right. Check this out. So we got Jordy Barguno. His comment says, biggest problem with the season is they tried to go cameo galore. So they ended up with a ton of characters. And as a result, they had way too many side stories, and they weren't able to properly flesh out the main story. What do you think about that, Ivan?
I think it's partly true. Again, if they had connected the Westies murder with Saz's murder,
right,
I think it would have forgiven everything. Because again, then in that case, we would have been like, okay, we don't necessarily need to see the dad, just because like we know Marshall's a mastermind and he's been pulling the strings this whole time behind the scenes.
Right.
And he's just crazy. Right. Chalked up to crazy. We're just look at all this. But we could still say that, but it's still not, again, I'm still like, but the Westies were such a waste of time. Because it did amount to nothing.
Right.
It did not solve any plot holes from
and like 1. I was telling somebody, I was like, I think you could have even done away with episode 8 and still been like, all right, like I can figure out, like if you showed the whole season to somebody that's never seen it before and you didn't include episode 8, the season would still make sense.
Also, the scene with Vince Fish and Rudy and Charles and Oliver going through their apartment, that also seemed like it was reshot because like where are the other sauces? Sorry, not the other side. Where are the sauces?
Where are the sauces in general? Yeah.
Yeah. Where are they? Why aren't they part of this ding dong? Why, like, what's going, like, you know, like part of me is thinking, was this reshoots and they can only get whoever they got?
I just thought that they all went back to the bodega to go cash a check. So
it's time to make money. The ham's looking thin.
I just feel like it's a field trip with them, right? Like they're like, who wants to go cash some checks?
I see. Okay, part of me, this is such a deep cut, but like part of me feels like they had such a missed opportunity to have Danny DeVito as part of this group.
Okay.
Is to hear him yell ham from, because like, I think, do you know what I'm referring to?
No, was it Always Sunny?
Rum ham? Yeah, because I think rum ham from It's Always Sunny, I think, is one of the greatest things to have graced television. Danny DeVito yelling rum ham, no.
I'm now going to need to see rum ham. Okay.
Oh, it's the game goes to Jersey Shore. So.
Oh, I used to watch Jersey Shore, so let's not. I'm old, so that's what that is.
Yeah, it's a great thing, but no, having the ham all in there, ham radio. I thought it was all done. The setups were great.
You didn't think it was too hammy?
It's just a tiny bit. No, I think it was all done relatively well. Just, I do agree with that with the comment. I don't know. I don't think it was cameo centric. I think a lot of people will fall back on that a lot, but I think it's just they didn't connect anything.
Yeah.
I think that's what the problem was.
And I think that's what people mean, right? Like they're like, okay, I was even telling somebody, I'm like, you could even skip episode 7, and if you showed somebody the season and you didn't have 7 or 8, the season still makes sense. So I think it's not just the cameos; it's that you didn't do anything with them. Like you bring Paul Rudd in season 3, you do something with them, right? You bring Donna and Cliff in season 3, like you do something with them. But like even Loretta season 3, you bring her in, you do something with her, you know?
Yeah, Paul Rudd. John Hoffman said that one of the reasons why they brought Paul Rudd back in and why Paul Rudd said yes is because Paul Rudd likes repeating things as jokes. And so the
Jimmy Fallon thing.
Yeah. So that whole thing was like a little meta joke on that joke.
That's so funny, dude.
Because Paul Rudd be like, oh sure,
I got a new clip for the movie.
Murdered again.
Yeah.
I'll get murdered again.
Yeah. I was saying, somebody said they're like, they need to bring Paul Rudd back for season 5, and his character needs to be hang on, and his character needs to be named Roy, so that he would have had a character named Ben, a character named Glenn, and a character named Roy. And I'm like, yep. I'm all here for the Roy. Let's go.
I'm here for Roy. Let's get Roy. Paul for Roy.
Here's a comment I think you would appreciate. So this comment comes in from user BZ2HL9XW1B. I did all that. I did all of that on the first try. No, I love this episode. It was hilarious and very poignant with some great acting, especially from Saz and P-Pope actors. How do you feel about that comment? I feel like you feel vindicated.
A little bit.
Validated with that comment.
The acting was superb. Jin, I kept saying, hilariously, the truth comes out. I kept saying in my videos, like, you don't hire someone from Pachinko and then not have them be a murderer.
Right, you said that. I've never even watched that show. I don't know what that show is. Oh, you've never seen the
show? No, I've never seen it. But it makes sense. No, but I've seen clips, and I specifically looked his clips up, and it's fantastic. Okay. I don't know what the show is about, but it looks great. I don't have Apple TV. That's why.
Yeah, the writers don't even know what it's about, but that's good.
but he is stellar on that show. Like
Okay.
that, the whole everybody on that show is fantastic. Like the acting looks superb. But it is very the range on that show is wide. That's why I'm just like, okay, if everybody like the ranges on there has to be. So to me, I'm just like, this guy who's more serious in pachinko is playing a really, really nervous guy. Just like, something here.
I see what
it's also casting. But that's why I was convinced that Camille Nanjiani was a murderer as well. But
I did too. I'm like, for sure Camille would be sign on and be like,
he's playing so many murders lately.
Yeah,
It's got to be another one.
was he a murderer in something else?
He's gonna play be in Poker Face, season 2 Poker Face, and in Poker Face is a house.
I like that. I love that show with Natasha. What's her name? Natasha Leone. And she's so good in the first season.
He played what's it called? Steve Banerjee in Welcome to Chippendales, which is about the Chippendales murders.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'm like, oh, I've seen him in Stubert, and I know he's in the Eternals, and I know he was in that one episode of Twilight Zone, but you know.
Oh yeah, he was.
Played the comedian.
Yeah. He recently went on. Was it? Oh man, I forget the title, but he gave a really fantastic speech. But in that speech, he said, I want to play bad guys, but I want to play good guys. I want to play bad guys. I want to play all the guys, because he was talking about how used to be only the people of color are playing bad guys, and now it's staunchly the other direction. Now really all super good guys, they can't be bad guys.
Like the whole Chris Evans thing with Knives Out, right? Like that's
exactly. And that's Kumail Nanjiani's like, I want to do both. But he started with, he's like, I want to play a bad guy. I was like, did he just tell us that he's a murderer? No, he didn't.
Love it. So. Let's do some more. You got a little bit more time, man?
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, I do agree with that. The acting.
There's there's one comment from Film or Do 24. I'm just kidding. Okay. This is a good one from Zainan94. He actually, I read his comment on the last one. He was from Ireland, and he was calling out Paul Rudd's Irish accent. So shout outs to Zainan94. But he says, what was the thing that Mabel asked Bev for? What was the point of the Westies? We wasted so much time this season. The trio were very weak in terms of solving this season. It started off strong, but was ultimately disappointing. Too many new characters, even to the last episode. All right, let's start small here. What was the thing that that homegirl asked Bev for? What do you think it was?
I think it's just a ton of money.
Okay. Because she didn't get anything else this season.
No. I think the whole like, oh, I'm gonna tell the story. I'm gonna tell Sad's story. That's what she's gonna use the money for. That's why I think she's gonna. Because the whole beginning of the season was, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And Bev's like, buttons, elevators, trauma. And
okay, so do you want to know what I think she asked her for?
Yeah.
A podcast contract with a major company, and that's why Bev was trying to get her a podcast contract with a major company, along with the money. Like she wanted the money, and she wanted a podcast contract with a major company. So that's why Bev was like, so, what podcast ideas do you have? Right. It was about the money. And then it was, what podcast ideas do you have? I seriously think she asked her for a contract, and then she just didn't want it by the end. That's just my thing. That's just my thing. I don't know.
That's really good. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's really good because it's, Eva Longoria,
right, was trying to like push her on
money and do something for it, and I think Mabel is smarter than that. I think she would ask for a lot of money and, like you said, something more, like a definite in.
Yeah, something where she's managing something. Like, hey, let me.
And I think Bev
and Bev wanted to deliver. She was funny about it.
Bev wanted to deliver. She saw, oh, okay, this girl can get me what I need. Because during episode 5, when Bev has a script, I did not notice this, but she has Garfield. Like the movies Garfield, and I forget what other like really like awful movies on her wall.
Oh, right. She has like something to
Rio 2, I think.
Rio 2 is what it was, and it was like,
Yeah.
didn't nobody see that shit? Come on,
I
now.
was like, no one saw Rio 2, man. And then the Garfield movie, but I think it's the one with Bill, the live action hybrid one.
Yeah, but it was like part 2 of it. It was not.
Yeah.
She didn't have a singular.
It was all
like,
sequels.
The first, yeah, she was at like all sequels, and then she's like, I passed on Barbie.
On Barbie. She's like, I need this. I passed on Barbie. I was a girl.
Wildin'. All right, well, that was one of the questions. What was the point of the Westies? I think we answered. Oh, let me quiet that down.
Mm-hmm.
I think we answered that. We wasted so much time this season. We talked about that. The trio were very weak in terms of solving the season. Let's dig into that just real quick, because I do think, like, what did they solve? What did they really solve? This, the only person who solved it's always Mabel at the end, who's like, oh shit, you're the killer, and like, you must have killed for this like, she figured out Cliff did it last season, and she figured out what's a magic the Marshall, and then the Becky thing when they did a little switcheroo. And
I guess that was it was a collective effort, but she's the one who like figured it out. Like she's the one who's like, oh,
right,
Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma.
So I guess it falls in line with, like, you know, Mabel figuring it out, but like, again, like, when the rest of y'all gonna do some shit?
Yeah, when says, you know, I mean, that scene will always tear me up. The one where like Charles approaches Saz in the finale, and it's the briefest exchange. And Saz is like, you did good, and he's like, oh, I know, that's just me telling myself you did good, and I'm like, okay, I love it, but what did you do?
Right. But what did you do?
Like, I allow it because I'm a sucker for friendship stories, but like, what did you do, Charles?
Right. No, yeah. I mean, it's an honest question. I mean, it's a beautiful moment, but an honest question. Like, well, it felt like the moment from, have you seen Office Space?
Oh, a long time ago, but yeah.
Well, there's a scene in there where it's like, I'll put it in right now.
What would you say you do here?
And the guy has to like explain his whole freaking, like, well, you know, I take the notes and I give them to the engineers. And he's like, so why couldn't the customers go to the engineers? And he's like, well, I'll tell you why, because I got people skills. That's how it felt with Charles. Like, what exactly is it you say you do around here?
You made a lot of murder boards.
Right.
You made a lot of murder boards.
Oh my God, dude. Charles
Oliver
wild in the
did help a lot this season.
Oh yeah.
He actually did help a lot. Opposed to like last season where Oliver didn't help quite as much because
he was directing though. No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Directing and then starting.
Has Mabel had a season in which because I know she had season 2, but she was still doing murder mystery stuff. Well, kind of. Never mind. Season 2 was a little
wonky.
It was a little wonky as well, but
I recently, so somebody told me that in the thing, they were like, this is my least favorite season, or like, maybe it's something about they like season 2 more or something. I'd have to find the comment. And then I was like, I haven't seen season 2 all the way through since I binge watched it last year. And obviously then, I just to give you context, my son was born November 14th of last year. And he was born C-section, and so they keep you an extra night when they're born that way, just to, you know, keep an eye on the mother. And so I remember being in the hospital, and like, there's plenty of shit not to do at night. Like, you could put on the TV, but like, you know, my child's mother's like trying to sleep, so like I'm laying down on this like semi okayish couch, and like these full, you know. They tell you the damnedest thing when you have kids. They're like, when you go to the hospital, just be prepared to not sleep. Bullshit. The kids will sleep because they're tired. Like, they're little tired people, and they just poop and they eat and they sleep. That's all they do. That's all they do for the first few months of life, especially in the hospital. Well, most kids. The thing that keeps you up is the nurses check in on you every 2 hours on the dot. They will knock on the door. Then, hello, hi. We just want to check in on you. Just make sure everything's going okay. All right. Well, yeah. You need anything? Everything's good? Yeah. Okay. 2 hours, every 2 hours on the dot. That's why you get no sleep, because all they do is check in on you. And so I slept as much as I could, but like in the interim, for like after people have to leave at like 8 o'clock ish, 8:30, whatever, you ain't doing shit. The baby's sleeping. You ain't doing shit. I binged like 3.5 seasons or 2.5 seasons. So I got halfway through season 3 by the time we left. So like, I'm like, maybe I can misremember some shit. Like, right. Like maybe I don't remember it all. Also love the Spider-Man hat, but maybe I'm not remembering it all the way. So like I recently, I think it was last night, the night before, I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and I'm like, I can't figure out. I mean, I'm with it, but I can't figure out if I like it or if I don't like it so far. But like, maybe I need to make it to the end so far, because the stuff with Bunny is great. They haven't done Becky stuff just yet. So they just brought in the stepdaughter and yada yada, you know.
Yeah, I like a lot of elements of season 2, but it was just the fact that kind of like this season, I guess season 2 is like my season 4.
Okay.
Where like they didn't set up enough clues, and I rewatched the whole series this while season 4 was going on.
Okay.
Which might have helped.
Okay.
Which honestly might have helped, because I started watching season 4. And then I met Mike, and then and then I mentioned, I'm doing this weekly. He's like, well, let's watch Omit B seasons 1 through 3, so we can catch up and watch it weekly. So that's why I see episode 7, 8, and 7 through 10 took me a while to get, because I started watching with him.
The old school episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Opposed to watching it by myself and trying to get this out early. But I watched seasons 1 through 3 with him.
Okay.
And I had to withhold things, because I'm like, I can't tell you, because I was already told you I was correct with season 1. So we got to watch all of season 1, and then I could talk to you about like
everything that you were right about.
Yeah. Because honestly, because I binged season 1 so I can binge season 2, because it was coming out. So to me, I binged season 1, but it was when Jan stepped onto the elevator, I was like, oh, she's a murderer. Someone who's guilty but is like doesn't feel guilty acts this way.
Okay.
And I was just like, there's no way. Like, she's a murderer, and like it just makes sense for like the scripts and writing. I'm like, she's it. I'm like, it's her. Because up until then, I was like, it's Howard. I was like, it's very clearly Howard. They're trying to make it seem like it could be him, but not him, but it's him. And then Jan stepped up. I was like, oh
no, it's her.
Oh, it's her. Oh, it's her. I was like, they're doing the classic. We're gonna wait. We're gonna introduce her. We're never gonna see her for a little bit. I was like, yeah, no, it's her.
Yeah, we've seen a good murder mystery before. We know what's going on.
But I didn't know anything about music stuff, so to me, I was just like, that's a bathroom cleaner. But yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, what kind of sex toy is that? I ain't never seen no shit like that, man. Like, that ain't no shit I've ever seen.
This one, I have a comment actually from.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I had to read it.
Hang on. I'll pause real quick. Can I grab a beer and then you can read it real quick? Like, do we have time for that? Yeah, give me 10 seconds real quick. I'm going to edit this out in post, or just keep it and you can tell people where they can find you online. How about that?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So at the moment, all of my social medias are, which in my videos, I call them sushi media. Don't know why. I think it just happened by accident one day. But yeah, my social medias are just Filmer Dude 24. Filmer Dude 24 on Instagram, X, YouTube's. I have another channel, Ivan Montero Creative. That's my business because I do freelance as well. But yeah, freelance graphic design and photographer. but I tried to keep it all the same.
Freelance. Oh,
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you talked about this in episode 2, like as you were in an episode as well, I should say, not in an episode 2, because then people are gonna be like, episode 2? No, it wasn't episode 2. But it was an episode where you were talking about the way that Jan was writing a letter, and you're like, listen, as a graphic designer, listen, the way that she's writing that letter, it has to be this particular letter or this particular letter. And I was like, dude, that's such a cool insight to have.
Yeah, for Saz, the tap in, I was like, oh, like she started in season 3, she started going down, but the way it was written,
it kind of got a little curvy on it.
It was getting curvy.
I thought she was gonna write a J. I thought she was gonna write a J, and like I'm like, yeah, it has to be Joy. Joy shot her. Why did Joy shoot her? How did Joy know how to shoot? This is gonna be wild, y'all.
Yeah, I thought it was Joy. Everyone's like, it's Jan. I was like, nah, it's gonna be Joy.
Also, where do these fools get guns from? Did you hear me ask that? Because I did.
I didn't think about the fact that Jan suddenly had a sniper.
It felt so cartoony. It felt so cartoony. Like, where are you getting guns from? How?
This whole season felt cartoony, which worked to me because it was like, this is a parody on Hollywood.
It makes sense.
It worked for me, but I understand like why it won't work with a lot of people.
And this is why I was like, this is why it's going to be fun having you on, because at least you'll be able to describe it from like a screenwriter point, where I'm like, I don't think anybody takes me serious. Like, I'm the world's most okayest detective. I will ask some great questions.
You had really good points, and like you were spot on for some things though. Like you're good.
The intuitive power of okayness.
I mean, clearly I overthought everything.
So what we'll do for the season 5 is halfway through, we'll get together. We'll get together at the end of that, but we'll get together halfway through. Yeah, and then go through. So you know how I did the theories and comments video by myself? I'll just bring you in on that one. And I think I think we might even be able to solve it by then. At least I might ask enough okayish questions, and you might have such outlandish theories again. Like, it could work.
The thing is, the reason why I like outlandish theories was because way back when The Force Awakens came out, it was such a fun time reading all of the like theories on who Snoke could be.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
That was a dope thing.
I don't know why this is my favorite theory out there, but I don't know who said it, but it was just one line. Yoda is Snoke, and I thought that was so funny, so outrageously outlandish.
The fuck?
It just ended up being like this, like 70-foot like giant. I'm just like, that is so freaking hilarious. I want to do that for the rest of my life.
I want to Snoke all my. I want to Yoda all my Snokes for the rest of my life. That would be dope.
Because part of me was just like, I don't think Marshall's actually stole the script. I'm like, it's got to be something outlandish. That's why.
You doubted it.
Yeah.
You doubted it, bro. What?
I doubted it. Yeah. It was only until I started editing is when I fully convinced myself.
Fair enough. I was like, Marshall probably stole the script, but I'm like, and I was like, and maybe Saz wrote it, because I had a lot of people in the comments saying that, and I was just like, but also we've been given no clues that like Saz was ever writing anything. Like,
oh yeah, this person, Anna Sweet Choco, said when the trio checks Saz's apartment, there's an old typewriter on her desk.
Okay.
And I'm
Fair
like,
enough.
oh, okay.
Fair
I didn't catch that.
No.
And her Westie's notes is notes for a script. And
Dude.
it's the idea of writers will write on anything, airplane tickets, napkins, receipts, you know.
It felt like
she is old school.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say
it
it feels like some shit that like I do, or that I know, like friends of mine who are artists and like write songs and they're like, oh shit, like I got this idea, and they're like old school and they write it down on something. It felt like that. It felt like it's discombobulated, but only because it only doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
But it completely makes sense. But also there was a theory. There was a really cool theory online. There's a page of notes and it's got numbers. It's got like 14, 11 scratched out, 28.
I still don't know what that is.
Well, somebody wrote on Reddit, and this was before the reveal. This was like after episode 8. They're like, it was because Marshall stole the script and she was going through her script and his script to see the pages that were the same or like the same or different. And she was finding pages. And I was just like, that's fucking genius, actually. And then they did nothing. Then they did nothing with it.
Also, another thing that they didn't do was Marshall. That was Marshall in her apartment the night that they went to go investigate, and they heard a noise and they didn't investigate it.
Right.
To me, I'm just like, why would you not investigate it? I know stranger danger. I get it, but this is a murder mystery.
Right.
But that was Marshall.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense that it was, but like also when you've seen enough murder mysteries, just like I have. In any murder mystery, when Hercule Poirot is breaking down everything, he can deduce these people. He's like, and you were the one at the house when there was a noise. Like he would have deduced that shit.
Yeah, like
so, like Oliver or Charles or somebody should have been like, "Oh my God, you were the one at Saz's apartment the night that we were there." And Marshall's like, "Yeah, I was looking for the script, man. You know, something." Answer it with one line, but answer the damn unanswered question at that point.
Yeah, to me, I feel like nobody questioned. They kept questioning Marshall's ability as a writer, but they questioned it in jest, in passing. Oh, look at what they're having my character do. Oh, can you really do this? Again, the Westies were there to distract them. Oh, man, see, that's the thing. Like they should have set up Marshall. They should have shown signs of Marshall being more of a shooter than just the eye thing. But they also should have, because people kept saying, oh, Rudy could be the shooter because he has a lot of shooting stuff in his apartment, hunter things.
Right.
They should have set both of them and Vince as potential shooters.
Can I read this? I'm gonna read this comment because it exactly aligns with what you just said. So this is from Amy S79. She said they could have easily pinned over a photo of Marshall / Rex with his dad in hunting gear, or with a deer carcass or something like that when we saw him in his room and the mirror. That would be an easily missed clue, but still a needed one. I think if that goes like, I wanted to read that because I was reading through the comments as soon as you were talking, and I'm like, like the fans are saying exactly what you're saying. Like, just give me a little something.
A little. It's we're promised a chocolate chip cookie, and there's only like 2 chocolate chips.
Bro, that's the worst. Or like you get a pepperoni pizza and you can count the amount of pepperonis that you have. Yeah. Why did you give me 8 pepperonis? Like,
yeah, it's like, dude, I paid $1.75. All right. Pepper the Roni. All right.
Pepper my Roni, or get that shit out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Either all or nothing.
Either pepper my Roni or don't Roni my peppers. Like, don't do it.
Yeah. So.
I
agree with Amy.
Amy brought it. Amy brought it with that one. Another one, quick one from Jen M1. Rudy and Vince were a killer comedy duo, at least. Oh, yeah. I will say that, dude. I'll say.
Oh, his line. His line delivery on everything was fantastic. But the one, how'd it go? Yeah. I told you it wasn't us. We're just innocent weirdos who torched a body. Do you want us to call the police? But it was 2 separate thoughts. Like, do you want us to call police on Marshall?
Right. But not on us.
Oh, but like Richard Kind's delivery is phenomenal.
Can I say something about Richard Kind real quick? One of my favorite like side actor people that are like he's like Dan Hedania, or like who's the other guy? He's in like every hood movie. Keith David. Like somebody like that, where you're like, I know you from everything, but I also still don't know your name. But like an actor like or Clifton Powell, like Clifton Powell's in like every Hood movie. Friday, Dead Presidents. Like think of a Hood movie. You're like Clifton Powell's in that movie. Hot Boys. I don't know if you ever seen that. That's a classic Hood movie. Anyways, I'm just naming stuff that Clifton Powell's been in at this point. But Richard Kind is one of those actors where you're like, he's been in stuff that I didn't even realize. He played oh God, I got something in my eye and I don't know what it is, and I don't like it.
You're good.
As I'm talking about Richard Kind. The movie Inside Out. He played the imaginary character
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
Really?
He voiced Bing Bong.
Nuh-uh.
Look it up. Look it up right now.
Hear it.
Just double check. Just double check to make sure that I'm not bullshitting the fans.
Bing Bong.
It's Richard Kind though.
Actor. Oh wow.
It's him, right?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
Everybody's seen Inside Out. Everybody knows Bing Bong. That's Richard Kind, dude. That's how he's such a great actor you didn't know was in one of the movies that you liked.
Yeah.
And rather incredible.
That's I mean, this is a little detract, but like Florence Pugh, she's in
oh yeah, she's
Boots too.
Oh, is she? I haven't seen
She's Goldilocks.
Oh shit. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was like,
do accents like no other, apparently.
Everybody's seen her in Black Widow, and everybody's seen her in Oppenheimer, right? She was so great in Oppenheimer, first of all. I'm not just saying that because you see her boobs. I'm saying that because she was a great actress.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure.
She's great. She's a great actress. She
oh yeah.
Dedicated.
Hardcore.
Watch her like appear in like Only Murders. That would be such a get for Only Murders.
My heart.
That'd be such a win.
My heart right there. I'd be like, yeah.
She would never, but like that would be such a win.
Speaking of actresses, I'm going to read something. It probably could get us canceled, but it won't. Dan_5284 says, I have to admit, I have a soft spot for The Village. I know it's bad, but Ivy Walker could get it. If you haven't listened to the soundtrack, that's one of my favorite scores of all time. I mentioned The Village in my obviously in my breakdown because I was like, yeah, it was the 4th M. Night Shyamalan movie. He couldn't get it right. This is the 4th season. Like, yeah, shout outs to Bryce Dallas Howard. She's dope. She's dope.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's wonderful.
Let's move on before we get canceled from that. Shout outs to Dan_2584. Love you. You're great. All right. Did this bother you? Gray Shadow 13 says, and how did Jan see/shoot him through the closed blind? Did you not have a problem with that?
I didn't fully. She did say like, oh, I can see really good through slits and
tiny slits. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cover your bases. But the other window was open and the windows were open. And if Charles, I just want to know. Okay. Jan likely pre-got a sniper because if she heard that Jan was killed with a sniper, she probably thought, I'm going to need to sniper up. She's a psycho killer after all.
Oh, facts.
So that's probably what happened. Is it a little Deus Ex Machina? Yeah.
Very much. Yes. The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Does it work? Does it work? Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Does it also not work? It's also yes.
The answer is yeah. Yes to everything.
So it could not work and work at the same time. But I think that she, again, giving her the fact that she pre-got a sniper.
Okay.
Right, giving her that.
Okay.
She's waiting. She's biding the time, so she probably already got a couple things that she needed.
But also, just to pause, where did people see her if she was just hanging at the Arconia? Because remember, like, Detective Williams is like, and your little girlfriend's being seen.
So because she went to. Oh no, they thought she was going to Orlando, to Florida.
No. This was after that. This was during episode 6. So she's like, and just to let you know, your little girlfriend's been seen. And I'm like,
so I wonder if that's like her getting the sniper.
That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, is that the answer that she was like out to go buy a sniper rifle?
She's just out murder shopping.
Right. No big deal.
Because she looked good too, so she clearly went to go pick out an outfit.
She had a fit and a rifle, bro. Let's talk about that.
I love it. I also love that Jan is the same actress that played Holly from The Office.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't put.
That's also why I was just like, no, she's the murderer. Like you don't hire Holly to not be the murderer.
Fair play to you. I totally forget about The Office sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great show.
But yeah, if we give her the fact that she got the sniper, then I think the fact that she was listening to Charles and Oliver talking about that they have to go on the other side and that they're on the ledge. So she probably watched all of this.
Right. And from far away type thing.
Mm-hmm. But it's still like, I don't know. It's still one of those like, but okay, I guess I'll give it to you just because I kind of have to, and we're making it work.
Right. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we have to, but yeah.
It felt like jamming an oval into a circle, like structure.
It's like the meme. It's like the meme with the girl that's just like it's a star, and the guy just puts it in the square. She's like no.
it's that all over. It's literally that. Hilarious. All right. One from Kristen Dumphy. Regarding the cameras hidden in the apartment, I figure it was to highlight that he copies what other people do, only worse. Like the brother sisters had good cameras, and he made mention that the other one is a lot lesser quality. That's interesting. That's a good catch. Like to be like,
that's a really good catch.
To be like, oh, he does lesser stuff, so that way when they're like, oh, it's a 720, ooh,
yeah. I buy that.
I like the idea.
But again,
can we get a reveal about
confirmed.
that? Right.
Yeah, it's not confirmed, so I don't know, but I'll give it to him. I like it. It's headcanon.
Are you in agreement with me though? Right? Like we're in agreement that Marshall had the phone, right?
Yeah.
Marshall, the phone that Sass had was that Marshall had was connected to the cameras, which means it only means that those cameras were put there by Marshall, right?
Yeah. Like logic prevails here. Like that's what it's saying.
Yeah. Only
like 2 and 2
we never got it.
Only
we never got it confirmed.
We never got confirmed, which is why I also say like, what if Marshall wasn't again supposed to be the killer?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like how?
Because if you know, because after I uploaded my episode 9, I was just like, oh shoot, what if Marshall isn't the killer? And I've been saying it's him the whole time. Like, what if it's 2 other individuals who did this for Marshall? And Marshall is like, I'm just going along with it because I'm nervous and I just really wanted my movie.
Right.
Type thing.
It's funny that you say that because, I mean, I released my 9, you released your 9. I think it was very, very much the same day we released ours. And even on my video, I was saying like, yeah, Marshall by default is the killer. And I'm like, yeah, we have him as our top suspect, but I don't know. Something just doesn't seem right. And all I did throughout the comments for that particular episode was tell people, I'm like, I just don't think he shot anybody. Like, I think he stole the script, but like, I just think it was somebody else. Like, I just think doesn't feel like him.
Yeah, it was immediately after I uploaded it, and I rewatched the episode, and I rewatched that final scene of him huffing, rather not of him sighing. I'm just like, what if like he's like, I know what happened, but it wasn't me.
Right. That's what I thought. I literally.
And then when I saw your video and you had the same thought, basically, I was like, I'm wrong.
Oh no, it's all wasted. And then the next episode comes out, and you're probably like, I've never been more writer in my life. This is insane.
Yeah, but it still felt weird. Felt weird because it felt like even I can admit, sure, I was right, but even I can admit that it feels like Marshall wasn't supposed to be the killer.
Yeah. It feels like they
I don't
just
know,
did
like-
that. They just did it. They're like, oh, he's
Yeah.
there with
I'll
Mabel.
take it because it make I get a trophy, but like
Also, he pulls
but
a
it still
gun
feels like weird.
out of his like back pocket, and I'm like, so you were sitting on the gun while you were sitting in the hallway? Like, that's uncomfortable, bro. Like that can't. Where was this gun? Did you pull it out of your ass? Did you do that? Is that what you did? You prison hid this shit?
And I don't know. I think if this season was exactly how they planned it, and they're watching all of this, as a PR guy, say just steal what we're saying for the sake of your show. Just be like, oh yeah, no, totally. We writer strike. We had other things intended. Totally.
All everything they said. Yeah.
What they said.
Love it. Well,
I would say, but
on that note, Ivan, this has been a hell. I just realized what time it is. I'm like, bro, you're an hour ahead of me. It's been a hell of a time, dude. Like we answered some questions.
But don't answer that on live.
Oh no, I told people I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Central Time, so it's 11:43, 11:44. Right?
Oh yeah, same here. It's actually 11:44 because I'm in the Panhandle.
Oh, so you're Central.
Yeah.
So you got time for another question, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. Dude, can I be honest with you? I had no idea there was 2 time zones in Florida. I think I was today years old.
Florida, the Panhandle was supposed to be part of either Louisiana or Mississippi, whatever it's connected to. But everyone said, "Ew, no, thank you."
They did the meme. Did they send the meme? They said, "Ooh, brother."
They said, "Ew, brother." Yeah, literally. and then Florida's like, "We'll take it."
Yeah, well, we like it. We like what's going on.
And thus, the time zones were born.
Dude, I had no freaking idea that you're in Sunny time zone. Okay. That's really cool. All right, let me find some other good stuff over here. A lot of people are saying a lot of the same stuff, like how to Jan shoot this, how to do that.
What is your take on the tinsel? Like, because everyone keeps saying that it makes no sense for Marshall to have brought that jacket there.
I said that.
No, yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
But to me, okay, the way I make it make sense, which still just makes no sense. This is like the closest I can get. This is just his bag, the one that if this is his like murder bag, he probably has like more than that jacket, but it's still, and again, not thinking straight. Of course he'd take it. But
it feels like he brought like all of his stuntman stuff and he put it out and it just happened to be in there and he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like that is, I can get why I said it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it, but like absolutely, it's like, I work in tech, so like I have a bag and it has tech shit in there. It has headphones, it has USBs, something like that. Like it has just an eclectic mix of stuff that's in my laptop bag at all times. Do I need all the shit? Do I need an extra battery? Like, no. Do I need all these extra charger cords? No. But like, will I pull it out if I'm looking for some other shit? Like, absolutely. So like in that sense, like it felt like that's my stunt boy, overnight bag. And like, I happen to have that in, but also like you packed it, bro. Like you packed it. What do you mean you didn't use it? Like you're the one that packed it. So you're just leaving clues everywhere.
That's why I was so convinced that like he had to have framed everyone, because again, if he's a writer, if he's a storyteller, then this makes a lot of sense.
What's funny?
Like mastermind a perfect crime.
Real funny. I think it was whatever episode that we got that in. Was it episode 2 that we got that clue in? Somebody wrote in the comments in episode 2. They said it looks like stuntman fire tape, and I was like,
"Oh no way,
that's great." I was like, "But it wasn't at the same time, right?"
Yeah,
because I was like, "It's not adhesive, it's not sticky." I was like, I actually want to believe that, but also it's not sticky, it's not adhesive, it's not sticking to anything. It doesn't. You've ever gotten? I was like, if you've ever seen a piece of just normal tape, right? That you tape like wrapping tape, like you're wrapping a Christmas box with. Even when that tape, like just rip a little piece, right? And tape it together and like wet the bottom and do whatever. It's still a little, it doesn't curl the way that little piece of ribbon was curling.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it comes from like a pom-pom or like a costume. So then in episode 6, when it happened and you see the little tensies in the background of the opening, I'm like, oh, obviously we know what that is. And then I saw episode 9 and I saw that damn silver vest and I was like, well, I was wrong. Like that's that fire vest is exactly where it comes from. And it's all strandy and broken down and shit.
Yeah. I didn't put the fire vest together until I think I saw your video where you said, because I usually watch your video first before I watch anybody else's.
First of all, appreciate it.
Absolutely. So it wasn't until yours where you're just like, oh, it's from the fire vest. And I was like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
How did I miss that? Like it makes so much sense. Like Rudy tried to light it on fire. Like they straight up told us
that it's fireproof. Yeah. Well, it wasn't until the second. So I watched it once and then I was just like, holy shit. So then I watched it again and I paused it right at that scene and I zoomed in on the vest and I was just like, it had like a little, like it had like 2 little like strandies like this. And I was just like,
it's gotta be
no. Yeah. I was like, this has to be it. Like if anybody says anything different, it has to be it.
Also, that thing was like not well. Like that thing should be retired.
Oh, that thing was faded, my dude. That thing was faded.
Also, why did he still have it? I mean, okay, to show that he's a klepto, because like he stole Ron's shoes, so he stole.
I feel like Saz gave it to him. Like I feel like she didn't want to do stunts anymore, or didn't have. For me, it felt like she was passing the torch. Bro, well, this is why we're bros. But it felt very literal passing of the torch, right? Like I'm not doing fire stunts anymore, bro. But like you can do fire.
You do it.
Yeah, you're young and spry, and you get hit by cars all the time. It's great. So that's the way it felt like to me. But also like you're bringing your overnight bag with the shit that can like.
But why? Yeah, but why is that in there? That's why I'm just like, it would have been perfect if he were framing someone.
Right. It would have been way better. And also, I mean, again, it would have been perfect if he was framing somebody, especially if they would have shown a scene. This would have been all the scene that I wanted, where he's like, I had to wait for the brother sisters to leave before I could go into the apartment. Obviously, people.
Oh yeah. Oh, I did not think about that.
Obviously,
they were there that night.
Right. They were there that night. So like, obviously, people would have been like, well, that was well timed, right? Like that was convenient that Saz walked in. But yeah, but at least you named out that like he was looking out for the brother sisters to get the fuck out of the apartment.
Did we break the show?
We've literally broken the show.
I think I convinced myself that Marshall wasn't supposed to be the original killer.
You said it, and all I'm doing is giving you evidences for like why this makes sense. He wasn't supposed to be in that apartment, dude.
Unless I do think Double P was onto something with the twin thing. And I do think that there was more to the Westies than meets the eye. Just something happened within the production. And I'll say this, even they didn't mention anything brother sister related in their episode. No Westie mentioned anything about brother sisters. And then we never figure out why they scratched off Helga's pics, like her face off of the picture. We never figure that out. Like, yeah, because to me, I'm just like, you just because they said she was crazy.
Yeah, but also,
I'm just like, show us why. Like, what happened?
Yeah, tell me. She's crazy, and the only reason you think she's crazy is because she thinks y'all are killers. Like that doesn't seem like a great. It doesn't seem like a great reasoning to try to exit somebody out of your life.
That's why I didn't. This Doreen's episode I didn't like just because it was too much
That was
of a filler.
that was probably my least, like between me and you.
Same.
Actually, let's do this. Is it least favorite episode?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your favorite episode of this season?
It's either episode 6 or the finale, only because that finale makes me cry in so many different areas because it gets me elated just because I feel so much for Saz. She was so close. She was so close.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshall ripped that from her. Literally ripped it from her.
That's why I had to use the line in that recap. That's why I had to use the line where he's like, she bought our script, and she's like, this is not our script.
Yeah, that's why I was like, he had the audacious gall to utter those words to her. And that's a moment where I was just like, writers, I acknowledge this is all wonky as hell, but you're doing a good job of making me hate this man.
that part they did well, right? Like I had no complaint about how he acted. I had no anytime a character can do like this duality, especially when he's like, I'm not a killer, when he's like about to shoot and he goes from this like sort of he has this mental breakdown and then the switch flips and he's talking as a narration, but in the scene he's acting everything he would be talking about. And I'm like, oh, that's a damn good actor. It's like I don't know, have you seen Alien, the new one, the Romulus one?
Not the new one, not yet.
There's an actor in there.
You can go and talk. Yeah.
There's an actor in there. He plays the robot in there, and he switches from this like American accent to this British accent. And he's really a British actor, but he switches back and forth. And when he does it, he's playing two different characters, like two different versions of this robot. And one's a little like passive, and the other one is like this like aggressive, like, yeah, no, I'm a robot. I know what's going on. Just because he gets his mind switched. And like I walked out of that movie. I enjoyed that movie a lot, but I was like, whoever played the robot in this movie, whoever played the android, that dude's a phenomenal actor. Like when you're able to switch, when you're able to do that duality and you're still the same person, it's incredible. So the non-acting aspect of the shooting was one of my favorite parts about like the actor that played like, so when you talked about acting, I was like, well, nobody's questioning the acting. I think the acting in this is phenomenal. It's the story part that like has this, as we've discovered over these last 2 hours, like it just has this whole wonkiness to it that don't make no sense. Gee, you know what I mean?
And I think the people that I've noticed, the ones that have enjoyed it, are the ones who have either been in some similar situations.
Okay.
Where they're like, we get it. We get both Marshall and Saz. Because I've been in similar situations, but of course we, not stealing someone's script, but the whole, like, we would do anything to get on set. We would do anything to like his whole line is like, oh yeah, I want to be a writer, but I'll hold a camera, or I'll hold a boom mic, I'll get you coffee.
Right. Yeah.
I'll do anything to network. But like you said, it's the whole, oh man, the delivery was a little wonky.
That's it.
But they did get me in the feet. They did get me in the feels.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm just like, that final conversation with Saz's ghost, where they do the little hat thing.
You'll get me on this too. I thought the shooting, I talked about this in my video. I was like, one of my favorite parts was how they had homeboy over here, Marshall over here, and they had Saz on the other end of the room. Like there's that shot right there in this episode. And I was like, oh yeah, that is a gorgeous shot. And then even the one where they're like right next to each other and she's like looking down at him and being like, I'm so disappointed in you and I'm angry with you. That shot too, like the cinematography of this episode, like there's some beautiful shots. Like it is beautifully shot. I couldn't complain about that.
One of my favorite shots is actually in episode 1 where Charles is trying to put the number 4 across the table, and there's a pan. There's just it's very quick. It's the camera pans with Charles, and it's panning past like cups and bottles of water, and it's such a beautiful shot because of that depth of field. And I'm like, y'all didn't have to put that in there, but I appreciate that you did.
I mean, I can enjoy that, and I think that it was because of my lack of not enjoying the first half of the last episode, where I was like, but there's things I still love the show, because I think people have hit me up in the comments and they're like, but I still like the show, and I'm like, I'm not saying I don't like the show. Like, I'm not anti Only Murders. I will tell everybody to watch it. I'm anti the first half of this episode, but even watching it, like, there were bits where I was just like, how do y'all land the plane so great on the feels, on the cinematography, and the only thing you don't land, the music, bro, all the music, dude. Saz's little theme, even in episode 2, right, when like she first dies, but like her and Charles are talking, and it's just like piano melody. I think you had the name. What was the name for it? It was
dude. There's a ton of variations of that in the soundtrack. There's like 4 or 5 or 6 versions.
What's it called?
My favorite version is called The Meaning of Saz.
Okay.
There's that one, and the other one is called What About Happy Endings?
Okay.
I like The Meaning of Saz a little bit more because that's the one that you hear at the very end of the season with Charles and Saz, when Charles is like, "This is your seat."
When he gives her the writer's seat.
And you have that like that fuller, like the fuller melodies. You have more chords, and it's happier. To me, it's like a finality to it.
There hasn't been soundtrack music like that that's hit me since Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
When I forget the composer, but like there's a composer in the Game of Thrones, and Ramajawani, I believe his name is Ramajawani. I believe his name is. Look that up. Everybody go look it up. You'll know who he is because he did the Night King's theme, which is a beauty. He did the theme on season 6, episode 10. Like he did this whole anyways, I think his name is Ramajawani. Look him up, everybody. But I haven't been impacted by a show's soundtrack. And then I heard that Saz theme, and they played it in episode 2, and they played it in this episode, and I was just like, feels. I
don't know how he did it. Like, it's just such a Mike describes it as like it's beautifully melancholy. It's melancholic.
Ooh.
I'm just like, that is, like it is. It's very melancholic. But to me, I like sad sounding things. To me, I find beauty in those.
Okay.
For some reason. So to me, I'm just like, I don't know. It's just like, him, like there's one called Cleaning Up Saz.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's the one that they play when he's like washing Saz
wiping him off. Yeah.
Wiping Saz off. And to me, I'm just like, oh man, like that sound, like that theme, it's innocent, it's happy, but it's sad. I think it's like you have all of the feels in there because Saz was and she's an innocent angel, man.
Yeah. Also, get your hands off her boobs. That's what
get your hands off my boobs.
That comment was like, I was like, this is great. This is a great imagination of Saz.
The question I have for you is, what is next after Omit B?
So I don't have a show, actually. I don't have a show because because of the format, right? Like, if there was like if Hulu wants to throw out another like murder mystery show, like I'm down for it. And there kind of is one I'm going to check out. I forget the show's name, but it has Jimmy O Yang and hang on, let me find it real quick.
Is it called Interior Chinatown?
Yes, Interior Chinatown.
Okay. That's on my watch list.
It slightly looks like a murder mystery, and if it is after the first maybe 2 episodes, then I'll break it down. But if it's not, I'm just gonna do so outside of this on the channel, I do a series called Every Clue In. And so I've done every clue in. I don't know if you've seen these, but if you're a fan of Scream, have you ever seen you Scream guy?
I've not, but I am told I need to watch them.
They are adult Scooby-Doo.
I see that you are though.
Yeah, I'm a huge Scream fan. Obviously, I've got the Omit behind me, and I've got the Scream mask. Big Scream fan, and have been since I've been a kid. So I'm 36. I don't know if I look 36. If I do, then okay, thank you. I was gonna say if I do, then I need to have a new skin routine. But so I was like 11 or 12 the first time I watched the first one. Maybe I was 11. And I watched the first one, and then I rented the second one. A friend lent me the first one, and then I rented the second one, and I begged my mom. I was making shitty grades in 6th grade, and I begged her in 2000. I was like, Mom, go take me to see it. I wanted to see it opening night. I've been watching like Jay Leno, and he had like Courtney Cox on, and he had like David Arquette and Nev Campbell and Patrick Dempsey, and I was like, I really want to watch this movie. And so my mom took me opening night to go watch Scream 3. And every Scream since then I've seen on opening night. So I'm a big Scream fan. So I did this thing called Every Clue and I did Scream 1 and Scream 2, and I did Thanksgiving, which is also a slasher murder mystery.
Yeah.
And it's literally picking up all the clues that were in the movie that gave away who the killer was if you paid attention to him.
Yeah.
And the Scream 1, it took off. And then I did who killed one of the characters in the movie. And then I did Scream 2. And then I did Thanksgiving, obviously, for November. We're in November now. And I'm working on Scream 3 right now. So all I'm going to be doing is like every clue in. And I'm doing predominantly like slasher whodunits. Because if you watch like a normal whodunit, like, bitch, they give you all the clues. Like they give you, like they tell you everything by the end of it. And you're like, I didn't catch it, but I'm so glad that you pointed it out. What I wanted to do is like, well, what about when there's a murder mystery and they don't point it out? Like, how am I supposed to know? If you don't tell me, how am I supposed to know? It besides just being like,
and apparently in every Scream they do tell you.
They don't.
They don't. Oh.
They tell you who the killer was, and there's usually like 1 or 2 clues. But there's so many clues throughout the movie that like, if you would have noticed those clues, you could have been like, yeah, that makes absolute sense. Which is why when I walked into the season of Only Murders, it was different from when I walked into it doing Death and Other Details, because I didn't do my first Every Clue in video series until the end of March, maybe early April. And that was the first time I dropped the Scream one. And then it just like, it took off. Like that is the highest video on our channel right now is the every Clue in and Scream 1. And then it's Scream 2. And then it's a little offshoot video that I did about one of the kills. And people are like begging for Scream 3. So like, I'm currently actually working on Scream 3. So I'm going to do Scream 3. I would love to do, I know what you did last summer, but I can't because you don't get any clues that give away who the killer is. And like the killer comes up at the end and you're like, there's no way I could have figured that out. Yeah. So it doesn't, but like a movie,
that's
like
how people feel about, it just came out, The Perfect Couple. I didn't watch it.
I haven't seen this.
I haven't. Yeah, you could go for it. I haven't watched it. Mainly because I watch a lot of TV. I don't remember what number I'm at in terms of like TV shows for the.
You have a letterbox, so you'd be watching TV, my dude.
I have a letterbox, yeah, but I also have a Google sheet that I keep track of. So I'm at what is this? That's a master timeline. Well, let's just to the TV shows. I'm at for this year, just to 2024 TV shows, 80.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and a lot of them are still like weekly coming out.
Okay.
But that's why to me I'm just like, I've seen so much.
Yeah.
That's why certain shows may not appear on my end of top 10 because I've seen so much. Like a show needs to be like 9.7 or
Or
above
higher.
or higher to make the list, because that's how many like good shows that have come out. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's a good content, but a lot of crap shows too. So there's gonna be a lot of like obscure crap shows that people have never heard of. And I'm like, well, now you have. Don't watch them.
Right. Let me tell you about it. Don't see it. I got
but
burned. I got burned so much by Disney about that. But continue.
oh yeah, no, but I don't know. That's why to me, I'm just
Yeah, I don't have any shows on, so I'm just gonna continue doing.
you can
I'm gonna do Scream
could
3. Oh, go ahead. What should I do?
you could do two ideas that I have for you. You could do I know you don't want to do regular whodunits, but the Murder on the Orient Express, A Haunting in Venice, and what was the second one they did? Death on the Nile. To
Oh,
me,
I
to me
love
they're
that.
insanely obvious. They're fun movies,
Mhm.
but I couldn't figure out the first one. The first one was pretty good.
And how could you? Like, how could you? Like, I mean, not to give away the end. So I
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
channel,
you-
I have
it sounds like you've seen-
I have a reaction. Yeah, I've seen it. But I did that was one of the first videos I actually did on this channel, was a reaction to Murder on the Orient Express. I was gonna do Death on the Nile, but instead I did a reaction to Haunting in Venice the second time. So I saw it in
Oh,
theaters, and then I did a actual reaction to it, because I personally really enjoy the Kenneth Branagh, what he brings to Ed Powell,
Yeah.
not just as an actor, but as a director. Like, his establishing shots every
Mhm.
time he shows you something, they're the most gorgeous shit that you've ever like. Even though it's CGI, you're like,
Oh yeah.
how did he capture? Like, this is gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
It's like beautiful eye candy.
I
So
agree.
I love all those. What I actually did, one of the first videos that did really well, and I had to upload it a number of times, was I broke down Peter Ustinov's version of Ed Powell. I did Evil Under the Sun, and it was the second video that I ever did where I had the rules for solving a murder mystery. So the first one I ever did was Gosford Park, and I did it in this way where I talk a little bit about the movie ahead. I do my rules for solving a murder mystery, and then I do a full murder, like a full movie recap, like scene by scene, bit by bit. And I pause right before the reveal, and I go through all the clues and suspects. And during Evil in the Sun, I paused at the ending and literally recorded myself like thinking through who the killer could be. I got the ending right, but like, it was a cool little sort of like meta commentary way of me like walking people through it before to get to the ending. So I did that with Evil Under the Sun. I did I did a reaction to Dead Man's Folly. I did a reaction to there's 13 for Dinner. It has him and it has Faye Dunaway in it, and it also has the guy that plays Ed Powell for the 25-year run that he did on the TV show on BBC. Who was that?
Oh, I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like that British actor. I feel bad not remembering his name, but he plays Detective Japp in that movie, in that made for TV movie, which is wild because future Poirot is in a movie with current Poirot, and it's so like, what is going on? This is cool. So yeah, I feel like his name is David something. David Suchet, that's his name. David Suchet.
That's the one.
So yeah, I'll just probably start doing my every clue, and then I'll do like, so like for February, I already know that I'm gonna do Valentine, right? Like that's a slasher whodunit. I'm gonna do like a lot of slasher whodunits in the meantime until I find a good TV show. What do you got? What do you got going?
For me, I'm going to do. I have like a list of things. Like right now, for the remainder of the year is going to be a lot of rankings.
Okay.
So like X-Men films ranking. I have Despicable Me franchise ranking. I have the MCU. A lot of people are doing like MCU Phase 5 and Phase 6 ranking by excitement. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do a like all the projects coming out in 2025.
Okay.
Because that's what I did for 23 and 24. So I'm just going to do that instead of doing a whole phase, because there's just so much that they're doing.
It really is.
That I'm just like, my video is going to be insanely long. So I'm just doing just projects coming out in 2025. I have a couple reactions, movie reactions coming out. But mainly in the new year, I'm going to be shifting to mostly movie reactions. And I want to grab TV shows and like questions that people don't ask. So like Extraordinary. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a British comedy about a girl who lives in a superhero universe, basically, where every single individual has superpowers, but she does not. And these are just like obscure powers. Like some of them, I can't say what those powers are because we'll get demonetized. Like there's like it's ridiculously hilarious. Like but this girl, her whole thing is she doesn't have any powers. She's the extraordinary one because she doesn't have any powers.
That's a wild concept to think about.
It's wild, and after season 2, you know, like I can't say one of the questions because it's a little bit of a spoiler, but the other question is still like, what will Jen's powers be? And so I created this whole like the Omit B detective style video of what I think her powers would be and why. And so I'm going to do the same thing with a couple different shows, but How I Met Your Father, that one was canceled after
with Hilary Duff.
Yeah,
man,
it was canceled after 2 seasons.
She was.
But I know who the dad is.
That's that. You do that video, bro. Like when you drop that video, that whatever your channel,
get crazy. So
whatever your channel is, like the boost that your channel is going to get when you drop. So like you have to do. And I'll say this for anybody wanting to start a YouTube channel. When I did, when I did Death and Other Details, like I knew that I was going to be one of 10, one of 20, and actually there wasn't a whole bunch of people that talked about it. So fortunately, that gave my channel a lot of boost, or the boost, channel that I do with this crew. It gave it a lot of boost because it was so niche, but the people that watched it were so like, yo. So when Omit B came out, people knew that I already did murder mysteries. So a lot of the same people who commented or found me then were like, oh, that's coming out in a few. I'll just come back to this channel. Yeah. But the thing that set this channel apart is when I did the every clue and Scream, because when I went to YouTube and typed in like every clue and Scream that gives away the killer, right? Nobody had ever dropped a video. Everybody dropped every Easter egg and like Scream Crush and shit like that, right? Like everybody wants to do Easter eggs. Nobody wants to solve mysteries. But then when you solve the mystery, they're like, why has there never been a video like this? And you're like, well, I'm a mystery solver. Like I'm an okay mystery solver is what I am. And so when I dropped that video, the fandom of Scream, like just like came out of the woodworks like zombies, like rose from wherever they were from and were like, bro, this is dope. So then I dropped part 2, and then like, even I'm doing 2, people are still seeing it now. And they're like, where's part 3? And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to do part 3. Like, this is cool. But when you find a thing that works, that has unanswered questions that can be answered, like you would do with How I Met Your Father, even if other people have other ideas on it, if there's not a video on it, it is free reign. And that's where the lane comes. Even if you did like How I Met Your Mother, but you're like, we could answer it in these 10 episodes or these 5 episodes. Here are the 5 episodes that give it away. People would be like, yeah, I'm listening.
Oh yeah. Like going back to rewatching How I Met Your Mother for the first time in 10 years this past year, I was like, oh, they totally were setting up Robin. I guess I shouldn't say, for those who haven't,
a spoiler alert,
haven't seen like a 3-year-old show. But like they totally set up what they wanted to set up. It's just when you're watching it weekly for 9 years, you may forget some of those things.
Oh yeah.
But like when you binge it, you're just like, oh, I totally see it.
Right. Right.
Which is interesting, but
yeah, I think that'll be your thing. What I should do?
based. Okay, don't do this one. Based on a true story is I call it Omit B Light.
Okay.
Because it has Kaylee Cuoco. It's on Peacock. It's supposed to be a murder mystery show where the lady has the murderer part of the podcast or something. But it's such a streaming show. So like, sure, there's who else is potentially murdering? But it's I gave it a C.
Okay.
It was just C because it wasn't as compelling. I thought it was canceled. Turns out season 2 is coming out in like 2 weeks.
Oh shit.
So now I'm just like, I guess I will just review it because I don't want to put too much time into it. But that is something you could check out if you wanted to. And then another murder mystery show that came out last year is A Murder at the End of the World.
I watched that. So that's actually one of the first videos of shows that I did was the last episode of Only Murders at the End of the World, or Murder at the End of the World. And that is actually how that and After Party 2 were two other shows.
After Party. Yeah, I have not seen that one either.
Oh, dude. I get it. You don't have probably Apple TV. Nobody does.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth. It's
worth. Everyone keeps saying it's worth it.
It's worth getting it for a month to binge the 2 seasons that they have. Like it's so worth. Like it's so worth it.
Yeah,
it's so much fun. Because After Party 2 dropped last year as well. So like I watched Only Murders and then After Party was coming out and I think there were still a few episodes left. That was another reason that I got into Double P Media because he was breaking down. Dude, it was like murder mystery season for him because it was After Party 2. It was like Omit B came out, then After Party 2, and then Murdered at the End of the World. And like he could like I get why he took time off of Death and Other Details because literally when Murders at the End of the World ended, literally Death and Other Details began. And I'm sure he was like, bro.
Is Murder at the End of the World good?
I mean, it's an okay watch, like a C plus, B minus.
Okay. I suspected it would be. And here's the thing. For me, it's really hard to watch shows that come out within that year if it comes out late. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's like, listen, Omit B came out earlier that year. I forget what other murder mystery came out that year, and then Haunting in Venice came out that year. Mm-hmm. So to me, by the time A Murder at the End of the World came out in December, I was burnt out. So I was like, you gotta be good or it's not at all. And the acting, Emma Corrin was fine. It was the supporting actors, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, I at this point I had to watch like 90 something shows. I was like, I'm like, you gotta be good or you're not making it. So
Clive Owen pulled me in because I had that year, or maybe the year prior, I had watched where he played Bill Clinton in the Monica Lewinsky. It was like the FX show about Monica Lewinsky scandal, and he played Bill Clinton. And I watched the show and I was like, wait, who the fuck's playing Bill Clinton? Because like he's really good. And then I looked it up and it was Clive Owen, and I'm like, my God, it's Clive Owen. Like this is ridiculous. And I'm here for it. Like he's all with the Southern draw, the Southern Alabama draw on that. And I'm like, or Arkansas draw. And I'm like, let's freaking go. So when FX and Hulu brought him to, and a lot of them, right? Like if you act in one, like they'll pull you to another show. When they pulled him into Murder at the End of the World, I was like, okay, like this could be a thing. And like it was, and I'm glad that I watched it all the way through just to be verified. Like I was right on a few things. And then there was a reveal and I was just like, no, I'm not here for this. No, I'm not here for this.
See, I heard mixed feelings about the show. That's why I'm just like, I don't know if I should, but people are just like, you should at least watch it.
If you have Hulu and you've got time, I'll say that. If you have Hulu and you have time, watch it. But if you had the choice to watch that or Death and Other Details, watch Death and Other Details. Have you seen Death and Other Details?
I did see it. What did I give it? I gave it. It wasn't
high because it didn't end like I'll say this. It didn't end well. Like
it did not end well.
It started great. Like, bro, let's go with what's
it
his name?
started wonderful. But
Mandy
then it
Mandy
quickly,
Patinkin as the, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
let's
But
go.
then it quickly, I didn't like a lot of the dialogue, and I was just like, I mean, I excuse dialogue sometimes when I'm just like, okay, I can see that there's no other way for you to explain this information. Fine. But work on the delivery just a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
So I made a reel because I was gonna make a whole
Oh, it's so funny.
I was gonna make a review, but I was just so disappointed with the show that I just made a reel. I like looking at the rating. I gave it a 5.3.
I'm not even mad
And
at
I
it.
was
I
like,
mean, there's a reason it didn't get picked up for a second season.
yeah,
You know,
I was interested to see where it would go, but at the
I-
same time, I'm like, I don't think I would invest.
it ended, and I was just like, bro, y'all doing the only murders thing? Y'all doing the thing? Like, it's not gonna end well for y'all. Like, I want it. I want a conclusion, but it's not gonna end well.
A lot of people are trying to do the only murders thing, is what I feel. That's why I'm just like, based on a true story. I was like, if you have the time, then fine.
So this is why I liked After Party, and I think I watched it. I had actually watched After Party before I watched Only Murders, and After Party doesn't end with another killing. Like, it ends because I think they only thought it was going to be one season, and I was like, "Gorgeous! This is gorgeous! What a gorgeous way!" And neither does season 2. I don't think season 2 ends with another murder, and so I'm like, you don't have to be something else to be a good murder mystery. Is all I'm saying. Also, somebody called out in the comments, just to bring up Death and Other Details. That's actually why. This is a twofold thing, and you'll get it. One, somebody was like, "Why do you have the scarf?" And I was like, "Oh, it's because I broke down Death and Other Details, and the detective has glasses."
Oh, the detective has glasses on a scarf.
And a scarf, and he goes by the greatest detective. So if you watch those old things, he goes by the world's greatest detective, and he's like, "Your word's not mine." And so every episode after I started being like, let me just wear this and see what happens. I was like, Moneyblade, we're the world's most okayest detective. Your words, not mine. Just so people, just to be like a little like funny.
Well, yeah,
but then
cool.
when I started
like
only murders, like I was just like, I'm just gonna keep the character bit up and see what happens. And somebody asked her like, oh, is the scarf about Oliver Putnam? And I'm like, it's not, but it works.
Yeah, because I noticed the scarf in episode 3 or 4 of your videos. I was like, a scarf. That is wonderful. Like, that is genius. Because my wardrobe has changed a lot for like figuring out what to wear for these detective videos. Because like now I wear this because I don't like wearing the suit jacket. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to be comfy. So I wear this, and I have my fedora.
The fedora. I feel like you and the fedora is like money.
I thought the fedora is great. Apparently, it's been requested to not come back by Mike. He's like, you can have it in the video. So I'm gonna buy a hat. I want to buy like one of these hats, but I want to have like a spyglass.
Oh, okay.
And have it be my detective hat.
Yeah, that'd be. I feel like my hair, my luscious locks. Like, I can't put a hat on this thing, dude. Like,
it's great. Your hair is great. Honestly,
I'm 36.
There's a reason why I have a hat though.
Full set of hair at 36. Like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
He's like, rock it, girlfriend. Rock that shit. Ivan, this has been a hell of a time. And like I said, hopefully I have you back before Omit. We can break down. We'll grab something and like just break it down. Whether maybe it's what is it? Inside China Connection. What is it called?
The Interior Chinatown.
Maybe we'll talk an episode like that. Maybe we'll find something. I think we'll find something between now and the next few months to break down. But this has been nothing but a pleasure in having you on, dude. And I thank you so much for working with the time with me and everything like that to come on tonight. Let people know. You let them know earlier, but let people know what you're doing, where they can find you, all that good stuff. Take over the show. You know what to do right now.
Absolutely. Thank you. First, thank you for having me on the show.
Of course.
Thank you for reaching out. That was certainly not necessary, but very much appreciated. That it made me feel great. So thank you. And then as far as social media is pretty much all just FilmerDude24. I like to stay easy for people to find. So I have Letterbox serialized. It's like Letterbox, but for TV.
Okay.
Instagram, X, no, not Snapchat. We're gonna admit that. Take that out. I'm kidding. It's out there. I'm just not on it. Is the thing. So really just Instagram.
I'm on
Twitter.
it and I never post, but I'm like, add me there if you want to add me, but I never post anything.
Yeah, same. So it's like, so to me, I'm just like, if you really want to see what I'm doing, it's Instagram, not even Twitter, but like I have that.
Right. Yeah. I don't X too much. I deleted mine, but you know.
Yeah, I have it there because I get some news sometimes. So I'm just like, ooh, okay, that's good to know.
Right. Yeah. But primarily reach out to you on. I reached out to you on Instagram, so if I can reach out to you on Instagram,
people can totally reach out to me on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah.
And FilmerDude24. So
you'll know it's him because he has nothing but photos of like all the stuff he does.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just basically right now just the thumbnails of my videos, which I had different things, but you know you get busy if it's just you. So I will start posting more photos of also me, but doing personal.
But in the meantime, everybody go follow him and whatever social medias you're on, you can follow me, Money Blake, whether Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Again, we just talked about you could add me there, but why would you? But yeah, I'm pretty active on. I'm not even pretty active. I do a lot of stories on Instagram. I just barely posted a picture.
That's what I do.
Of my son not too long ago. He was a happy little hot dog for Halloween. But yeah, what'd you say?
I did see that. Yeah,
he's a little cutie, right? Congrats to him. He got all the good genes, and I didn't. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. The kids used to give me candy to put my mask on. But anyways, I've been listening to too much of him lately. But yeah, feel free to add me on your favorite social media platform. Feel free to add the show on X and Instagram, Nerds@Night, and wherever you're at, that's where we are. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If this is your first time listening to Ivan, go follow him. If this is your second, third, fourth time, isn't it so cool to see us together? I thought it would be dope, and it turns out it was. It turns out it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully everybody
something else to do. So.
Oh yeah, that's a must. It's a must at this point. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it, and we'll figure out what we're going to be doing next on a collab because part two, in the words of Joker, must happen next. But we're not going to folly or nothing, but we will do a part two.
Not at all.
On that note, I want to thank everybody who wrote comments, who came in this season, liked, shared, supported either one of our channels. It's been an incredible ride with y'all. As y'all know, this is the last episode we've been doing anything Only Murders in the Building season 4 related. But I want to thank everybody for just riding with the show, supporting, making the channel bigger, allowing it to just be able for me to be able to reach out to Ivan. And then blowing up Ivan's channel. I've been seeing his numbers. It's been great. So,
they've been going high. So thank you.
Yeah. Fans, y'all do that. It's exciting. Because it's exciting. But fans, I've been seeing y'all doing y'all's thing. So I appreciate it. Ivan appreciates it.
I appreciate
it. And until next season, I'm sure we'll show all the love. But if you want to catch what we're doing in between, follow his channel. Follow my channel. His channel will be in the description. And in the meantime, though, I do appreciate you. So whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this, I thank you. Thank you for riding all season. And until next season, or until the next time you tune in, we will see you. Peace.